Thomas looking for a pass to Falk. Far wing. Wired. Score! One-timer. Dvorsky. First goal. First point in the National Hockey League. And he's got the Blues on the board with hugs and smiles from his teammates. This place will erupt if the Blues can get the equalizer before the end of the period. Broberg down low. Snuggerud turns. Centers. Oh, wire. Thomas. He scores! 2-2. Robert Thomas ties it up. Perico on. Rebound. They score! Suter on the doorstep. Tucks it home. 3-2 Blues. Hugstad chips it back to center. 3 to go. That'll do it. Take that piano off your back, chuck it in the Mississippi, and bring out the Zamboni.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That is what it sounded like last night, and thank God.
We're back, boys.
Why?
It's over. No more. We're done with it. All those intrusive thoughts, they didn't matter. It's gone. It's done.
Well, they matter.
No, it's gone. They're
just
gone.
not quite as intrusive today.
No, it's
which
like,
I can appreciate.
It's like in the back of your head when you think your girlfriend's cheating on you, but like, no, she couldn't be. And then you find out that she was.
You need to talk?
Oh, I'm happily married. I'm just saying, when you were dating, you get cheated on sometimes. How it works, So it's her fault, not
T-Bone,
me.
you ever been cheated on before?
He's been cheating on
No, I'm not that kind
tests
of
in
guy.
school.
Oh, that I had.
Absolutely, yeah. When I was in high school.
Just the once for me. Just the once. Didn't feel great. Not going to lie. Didn't enjoy it.
But you had those intrusive thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's not really happening, and you just convinced yourself.
wait, are we supposed to be letting
it happened. It was at a football game. I was on the field. She was up in the stands. It was a whole big thing.
How'd you do the rest of the game?
Wrestler.
Couldn't play well?
Huh?
How'd you do the rest of the game?
It is what it is. I was
scoring 3 touchdowns, and you pointed at it, and you said, we're done.
No, I was a tight end, and we were a running team. So anyway, so the Blues win last night, 3-2 at home against the Edmonton Oilers. A really impressive performance by them. Why did it look different, Alex?
Why did it look different? Because
what changed for them to allow them to have that kind of success?
They were committed for 60 minutes to the style that they needed to play. I thought that what you saw in the Vancouver Canucks game, with the exception of a few mix-ups and mistakes, they looked very good. The Columbus Blue Jackets game, offensively, I thought they looked very good. It's just they couldn't find a way to get through to that Jet Greaves. Defensively, they didn't allow much. Tonight, it all came together. Tonight, it wasn't 45 minutes of crisp hockey. It wasn't 55 minutes of hockey. They played 60 full minutes against Edmonton. But why they got to the win and why it looked so good? Because they were stingy as hell in their own end. They did not allow anything in front of the net. I think Edmonton finished with 7 high-danger scoring chances. 5 of those 7 came in the second period. And, I mean, look, you went up against the best team in terms of goal differential in the second period, mostly because you got McJesus on the ice for a long ice change. But other than that, they didn't allow anything in the middle of the ice. They kept them to the outside, and when they tried to get their secondary scoring chances, the Blues killed those plays. They had great sticks like they did against Dallas. They broke up plays well, and they just waited for their game to come to them. They waited for the moment to pounce rather than trying to force the moment. Offensively, they have been trying to force it to where it's like, we got to score. We got to score. Man, the third period started at Edmonton, I think, had the first 4 shots on goal. They went, 10 minutes without a shot in the third period? Mm-hmm. And then what happens? They waited for their moment, and then when they got it, they put it in the back of the net. So that, to me, was the difference. They weren't trying to go out there and force the issue. They waited for the right moment, and they got it.
T-Bone, for you, what changed last night? Why did it look different?
Robert Thomas was back, was a big driving force of that, which led to everything kind of lining up how it should, right? Without Robert Thomas, someone was propelled up to that top line that was just playing a little bit out of spot, and that would be either Suter or Shen, whatever they would decide to do. Thomas made everything else just kind of go into place. And then on top of that, I mean, Alex mentioned it, the defense for them, unbelievable. Goaltending, I mean, Bennington saved their bacon a couple of times last night. He didn't have to be all-worldly, but when he was called upon, he made the saves, which was the big difference for them before or during that 7-game losing streak. They weren't getting good goaltending, and last night they did.
That was the change for me. My change was in the second period, the Edmonton Oilers had 4 high-danger shots at 5-on-5. Guess how many of them Jordan Bennington saved?
4.
All 4. He made the saves when you needed to have them. And too often this year, they've needed those big-time saves at some point over the course of the game, and their goalies aren't coming up with them. Now, that's been better over the last few, and that's where we get into some of the other stuff. It's never one thing. It's always a combination of a lot of stuff that ultimately leads to a win like what you saw yesterday. But the thing that allows for it to even be possible is the saves, and then the rest of the team did, as Alex is talking about. They defended better in their own zone. They put the pressure on when it was there. That last goal was so symbolic to me of what's been missing for this team, man. Because last year, that's what they looked like. That postseason run, when they were having success against the Winnipeg Jets, it was a very simple hockey game. Defend in your own zone, get out in transition, cycle the puck, put yourselves into position to succeed, shot from the point, pucks or bodies in front of the net, rebound, deflection, or just to put the rebound in the back of the net, boom, score. That's what they did yesterday. On that final goal, they got out in transition. They got to the puck to the point. The defenseman took the shot, hit the goalie, rebound opportunity there. They create a mess in front of the goalie. Pius Suter, exactly where he needs to be. Boom, puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
That's it. It's so simple, and we make this game so hard sometimes, and the Blues have made it so hard on themselves at times this year. They played a simpler game last night, and they got rewarded for it.
Yeah, and the goaltending, I mean, you're spot on. To me, there's multiple reasons why it looked so good tonight or last night. It all just came together, but on the goalie perspective, you know, Armstrong was on NHL Network last week, and they asked why they were in the losing streak, and he said, we don't have anything to fall back on when our game's not working. Last year, it was the goaltending. It's always been the goaltending. You fall back on Binnington when your team's trying to find their game. He'll make the saves until you find it. They found it last night. And, I mean, Robert Thomas was a massive reason why as well, and T-Bone laid it out perfectly. Everything else just fell in line. He played 19 minutes. Suter played about 16 minutes. Dvorsky played about 15 minutes. Bukestad played about 11 or 12 minutes. That's how it is. Your top line to your fourth line. Everybody is rotating in the right spots that they need to be. I think it was great to have Braden Shen on the wing in that game, but also the versatility on two wings to have the center position to win faceoffs. Overall, it was just a 60-minute performance that, you know, they've talked a lot about how what's happening on the ice isn't backing up what they're seeing in terms of numbers of the performance. Last night felt like it did.
Over on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/101ESPN-STL is where you can go to watch us over the course of the show. You can also get involved in the Graveyard chat over there, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show as well. Eggplant Emoji says, are we not going to mention how lucky the Robert Thomas goal was? Guys, if we mention every time how lucky a goal is,
or unlucky,
we're never actually going to talk about the game.
Hold on. Now we're going to use puck luck as to why the Blues won, but you got mad when we said puck luck of why they were losing.
That's what I wanted to get into. You create your own puck luck.
Exactly.
Last night, they created puck luck. Far too often in the first, 10 games of the season, it's gone against them. And it's not just because they got unlucky. It's also because, man, you're in your own end for 3.5 minutes. At some point, it's going to take a bad bounce. Keep it out of the areas where a bad bounce goes in your own net. That's one way to avoid those bad bounces for you. And last night, they had the puck in the other zone. When you're in the offensive zone enough, hey, man, if it bounces off of somebody's ass and goes in the back of the net, good on you. They had a couple of goals in the playoffs last year. During that winning streak, how many goals did they have that were like, oh, man, went off of a guy's skate, went off of his butt right in front of the net, a deflection right at the net, whatever it may be. Create your own luck, get into the positions where that can go in the other team's net, and you're creating success for yourself.
You had 3 straight games before that win last night where a puck went off of Justin Falk's butt in the back of the net, Justin Falk's skate and into the back of the net, and off of Cam Fowler's heel and into the back of the net. Like, yeah, this was bound to happen at some point, but you don't just hope that the hockey gods are going to reward you. You got to go out there and you earn it, and I thought that they did. Another element that the YouTube chat brings up that I do think swayed this game in the Blues' direction was that Dalibor Dvorsky goal. I mean,
hey, by the way,
what are we clapping
good on
for?
you, Dalibor Dvorsky.
Oh, good on you. That was just a hell of a shot.
I had
oh my God,
a lot of criticism of the decision to bring him up. And he has been everything they could have asked for and then some. This guy ain't going anywhere, man.
No.
It felt at the time like a panic move to me. I still feel that way. I still feel like the decision to bring him up felt like a panic move. But now that we've seen him, This looks like a completely different player than the guy that we saw a year ago. All right, sorry, Alex.
No.
I just wanted to say that because I was critical of the decision to bring him up, and he has been so much better than I expected.
You were critical, but you were correct, because this is not a move that the Blues typically do. They don't bring a guy up and put him in your top 6 immediately. They put him on the 4th line, or they slow play him into this, but necessity called for this, but also what kind of Walchuk told us, where it's like, look, he's a guy that's going out there and is just taking everything this season. And you see that on the ice. Every game he has played in, he never looks out of place. But that shot, they haven't had a one-timer like that, specifically on the power play, but just at even strength since David Perron. And that changed the dynamic of that game. You were down 2-0. You gave up a goal less than 3 minutes into the second period off of a breakdown in your own end that resulted in a 4-on-2. That was the snowball moment. But, man, Dvorsky's one-time shot felt like it just ignited a fire in everybody on that bench. Everyone was smiling. I think some guys were like, holy hell, what a shot that was. And
That was me.
And me too. And then I think I watched it like 5 times last night when I got home and had a sandwich afterwards. But
And a cigarette?
Yeah, totally. After that goal, then look what happened. The Blues went in waves. And then 2 minutes later, Robert Thomas scores to tie up the hockey game. Sometimes your power play, and it's 10th right now in the National Hockey League, so it's fine. Sometimes they've got to come up with a goal at a big moment. That was it, and now you finally have a guy who can score in a big moment. And I love the fact that Snuggerud's on the other side. That power play might become lethal for this Blues team.
He's Alex, that's T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. It's 11:16. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Like I mentioned, if you guys want to get involved in the show, the best place to do so is the YouTube chat, youtube.com/101 ESPN STL. You can always check us out and text into the show as well. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us in studio here in about 15 minutes. But next, the Major League Baseball offseason is officially off and running. And the Cubs are the first team to make a legitimately big decision that shocked all of us earlier this morning. We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Alex, the Major League Baseball offseason has officially begun, and there was a surprising decision today. Honestly, I didn't even know it was a decision that had to be made. Shota Imanaga apparently had a team option as part of his contract when he signed stateside with the Chicago Cubs. And Shota Imanaga, if the Cubs decided to pick up this option, would be paid 3 years and $57 million. That was their decision. Do we continue to have him as part of our roster? And if so, he will be on a 3-year, $57 million deal. Or do we decline this option? And then he has the decision of picking up like a 1-year, $15 million player option. There was never a chance he was going to accept that. So it's effectively have him on this 3-year deal or don't have him, at least as of today, signed on the roster. Now, there's a part 2 to this, Alex, and this is an important factor to it. The Cubs are able to give Shota Imanaga a qualifying offer. For anybody unfamiliar with the way this works, they effectively are able to say, hey, it's like almost an RFA, like a restricted free agent kind of a deal for the NHL or the NFL. We will give you a 1-year, $22 million contract. You can accept that deal, and then you just play next year if you're Shota on a 1-year, $22 million contract. Or you decline it, and then you can go to the free agent market, but anybody that signs you has to give up a draft pick, and then we will get a draft pick because you went elsewhere for your services, right? So that's effectively where they're at. Long story short, Shota Imanaga is a free agent right now, with the potential to have a qualifying offer attached to him, maybe re-sign with the Cubs on that qualifying offer. I'd be surprised. Or he's going to go elsewhere. Now, I don't think that this means like the Cardinals are going to go sign Shota Imanaga, although I'm interested.
Sorry, $22 million plus, can't afford it.
But it is interesting to me, Alex, because he's like 32 years old. He's a good starter, maybe not a great one, but a good one. And 3 years, $57 million feels roughly about market value for somebody of his ilk. What did you make of their decision today? Did it tell you anything bigger picture about baseball, where the Cubs are at? What did you make of this?
I mean, honestly, surprised is what I made of it. I didn't expect it. Like, to me, this is a step backwards if you're the Cubs. I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep this guy on, even if you're getting that draft pick compensation with the qualified offer. Like, this was a window that you were supposed to continue to win in, and if Imanaga's not coming back, I doubt you're going to get Kyle Tucker because your team's less competitive. So surprised on one end. And then, my thought is, okay, does Imanaga see the writing on the wall with the Cubs? Doesn't think they're going to be very good, would rather go somewhere more competitive. But then you also get to the point of, man, is this what baseball is going to be headed for because of the pending lockout or work stoppage in 2027? Because if that's where it's at, you wonder if you're going to see more guys like this that I would imagine maybe go for a little bit more security in terms of not walking up to 2027 looking for a new contract, can go somewhere and sign a contract through. But that would just be one side of this conversation.
I don't know the
Cubs.
This is a Cubs decision.
And
it really wasn't a Shota decision because Shota's choice was 1 year, $15 million or free agency. It made zero sense. He's going to get the qualifying offer.
But the report was he opted out too, though, right? It was a mutual.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
His choice in the decision was if you opt in, it's a 1 year, $15 million deal. So he didn't opt out of 3 years, $57 million. That was never on the table for him. His choice was 1 year, $15 million or free agency. Well, I'm not taking that because if I opt out of this deal, they're just going to qualifying offer me, which is a 1 year, $22 million deal. Yep. There's no scenario in which it would have made sense for Shota to opt into that 1 year contract. Yep. The decision here was on the Cubs. 3 years, $57 million or qualifying offer 1 year or he walks. Yeah. Those are basically the three doors, and they chose door B or C. We're not sure on the qualifying offer situation just yet. So
the qualifying one makes no sense to me because you don't need the draft pick compensation. You need a guy that's helping you compete now.
I mean, the qualifying offer they're going to do.
Sure.
There's no reason not to.
Sure,
so.
But just to do this and say, well, we'll just get the qualifying offer and we'll let him walk. Like, I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
That's not their decision, though. It's up to Shota if he wants to take the 1 year deal or not. If he doesn't want the 1 year, $22 million deal, he says no. Yeah. And like the Cubs have no control over that. What they have control on is do we qualifying offer him?
Yeah.
At this point. And of course, yes, you should qualifying offer. If you don't, like I've got serious questions about what you're doing as an organization. But this, to me, T-Bone, you mentioned the work stoppage that's looming potentially in 2027. That's what immediately came to mind for me. So if you've got this 3-year deal, potentially, well, that goes for 2026, where it's below market value for him for 2026. It's less than what you'd have to pay for him on the qualifying offer. And then 2027, when the work stoppage would potentially be. And then 2028 when he's 35. So you're really trying to get the next 2 years. That's what's the most important thing for Shota, for them to decide, yeah, it's not worth it for us. It either signifies for me they need the flexibility money-wise, or this is the first on a series of decisions for Major League Baseball this offseason that will show, hey, everybody is preparing for what 2027 is going to be and what it means for baseball's financial situation moving forward. I find all of that to be interesting, and I feel like we're going to get some breadcrumbs this offseason on what individual ownership groups think is coming in 2027.
Yeah, my first thought originally was, okay, they might be penny pinching here to try and, as you said, save some cash and try and make this push for Kyle Tucker. But I wouldn't be making this move unless I knew my I's were dotted and my T's were crossed with a Kyle Tucker signing. Otherwise, I end up losing Shota Imanaga and Kyle Tucker, two big critical pieces of my core that helped get us to the playoffs last year. I do think this is, like you said, it does make me wonder if this is some breadcrumbs towards 2027, because I don't think you're going to see. I think your top-end players, Tucker will get his deal, Bichette will get his deal, I think Valdez will get his deal. After those three guys, which I would say are the big three, I think you're going to see a lot of long negotiations for contracts this offseason. And the Imanaga deal, 3 years, $57 million, isn't all that bad. I'm surprised they didn't pick that up. That's a reasonable deal for a guy, even if you think his stuff is diminishing, which the underlying numbers do show that, and his standard numbers did show he was a little bit down from where he was last year when he first came overseas. Even if that's the case, 3 years, $57 million, that's nothing when you look at the market. And he's, what, a 2-3, I would say. Yeah, those guys you're having to give out 6-year deals at about like $20+ million. So the fact that they're moving off of 3 years for him makes me do think that they believe there may not be baseball being played in 2027.
Got a couple of texts. One from Harrison's brother, Master. Who bleeping cares? Move on. Another says, why do we care about what the Cubs decided to do with Shota Imanaga? Twofold. One, if this is the case, if it is about the looming work stoppage, it makes some of your trade candidates that much more intriguing to the rest of Major League Baseball, because you've got Sonny Gray, who's on a 1-year deal. That's ideal for teams if they think there's going to be a work stoppage in 2027. You've got a lot of guys that are under club control over the next few years, which means teams don't have to go to the market and give them a long-term contract, which will go into 2027. So that's why I think it's really important. This could be the canary in the coal mine moment where it's like, oh, okay, we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop with what's going to happen in 2027. Teams are then going to look to identify who are the cheap options that we can go to, or who are the 1-year options that we can go to that can help us for the upcoming year without being on the books for a significant number in 2027. So that's why it matters in Major League Baseball, regardless of who you root for, but especially if you're a Cardinals fan with so many trade targets potentially this offseason.
And an organization like the Cubs, now, they operate a little bit cheaper, which is what makes me think this could be more of a canary in the coal mine situation that you're talking about, because the Cubs are, the third biggest market in baseball behind New York and L.A., and they're opting out of a 3-year, $57 million deal. They should not be cash-strapped or concerned about a work stoppage that's coming up, but their owner doesn't operate like the third biggest market. He is a little bit more of a penny pincher, which does seem to signal, okay, there is a little bit more to this than, oh, yeah, it's just 3 years, $57 million. I think there is something to, hey, they are a little concerned about the work stoppage.
I think every owner, with the exception of like the Dodgers and the Yankees, are going to be looking at this as like, if we're making signings, we want 1-year deals.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I don't know how many players are going to be willing to do that unless it's a ton of money on the front, because nobody wants to go into this work stoppage with a 5 or 6 year contract attached to them.
I know, like there was contract projections that were out today from The Athletic. I don't think a lot of those guys are getting that. I think this is going to be a very slow drip off season to figure out what the contracts are going to look like.
A lot of people are saying, guys, Shota was bad in the second half. That's why the Cubs decided not to bring him back. He wasn't as good, but he pitched 77 innings and had a 4.7 ERA.
Wasn't he hurt for a time last year where he came back from the injury?
Yeah. I I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is the going rate for pitchers that are average to above average, is 20 mil a year. Like, Max Scherzer wasn't great last year. He didn't pitch a ton of innings. You know what he's going to get in the market this year? Like 15 to 20?
Yeah.
That's what it costs.
Most of them are going to get.
So if you want somebody that has the upside of Shota, what he showed in 2024, and is at worst as quote-unquote bad as he was last year when he had a 3.7 ERA, that's 20 mil a year. And that's roughly what he was projected to make under this deal. So it's going to be interesting to watch and see what exactly this means for the offseason, both for the Cubs and Major League Baseball at large. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Jeremy Rutherford, Blues Insider, joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues took down the Edmonton Oilers last night 3-2, snapping their 7-game losing streak. They are off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they visit the Washington Capitals. Well, pregame coverage tomorrow starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Carver and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, college basketball season is underway, and we'll have Duke versus Texas with pregame coverage starting at 7 and tip-off at 7:45. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to be joined in studio by our guy Jeremy Rutherford, Blues insider for The Athletic. We always appreciate him stopping by. JR, how's it going, man?
Yeah, just working on a story for The Athletic down the hallway in your guys' office. And no wonder the show is so good. The prep work, the pregame meeting is longer than the actual show. You guys, 8:30 rolled in here. And
Joke's on you. It takes us 10 minutes to do stuff. Everything else is just nonsense we talk about. Also, I want my desk back, JR.
no, I stole it.
JR stole his desk, and Alex was just sitting on a chair.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
I don't do much in there. All I do is put the show tweet out. I let these guys work their brains, not me.
Your chair is broke, by the way.
Oh, God.
All right,
it was already
JR,
missing a wheel.
We have something good to talk about. For the first
about
time in
that?
a month, there's actually something tangible and positive to talk about as it pertains to the
Are we
Blues.
switching to Chiefs now or something? Okay.
Well, that's not positive.
Yeah, no.
What changed last night? This is the way that we opened the show. I'm curious for your thoughts on it. What was different about the performance yesterday compared to what we had seen in the previous 7 games?
Well, I think what's different is something that we've seen in the past 2.5, 3 games. And I realize you go to the Vancouver game, there was some game management issues like Jim Montgomery talked about. But, Columbus game, pretty good effort. And I think the way they were trending, they're doing the things that Jim Montgomery talked about. They're doing them better. And last night, and I'm kind of writing about this right now in my story, is you had a situation where you're trailing a game 1-0, and you have 3 opportunities at the net, 3 grade A scoring chances with Broberg, Suter, and Shen. They don't score on any of the 3. And then the puck's in the back of your net, and it's 2-0. That's exactly what's been happening with the Blues. They're creating chances. They're not converting. The puck is in the defensive zone a limited amount of time, and the opponent's putting the puck in the back of the net, and now you're down 2-0. And what's changing? That the Blues stuck with it and fought back, and that's something that we didn't see earlier in the season.
I think a lot of people at the beginning of the season, Jared, were down on Robert Thomas, slow start out of the gate, thinking it's like, man, if this guy's the superstar we're talking about, why isn't he performing? Last night felt like you saw it for the first time this season, to where it's like everything else settled itself down because he was on the ice.
Yeah, it's almost a good thing, maybe for him, that he was out for a couple of games because people can recognize that.
Yeah.
And, the other thing is this. I get it. There were questions about him early on in the season, but what are you talking about, 6 or 8 games? Not that he looked good, but I think that, some games are going different. Some games, where you're playing with certain guys who aren't clicking, it's tough to play your game. And I think last night we saw Robert Thomas, who said yesterday at his locker stall, it was tough to watch these games. We're playing better. We're creative foundation. I couldn't contribute. Tonight I can contribute. That's what I want to go out and do. And did he ever?
I was critical of the decision to call up Dalibor Dvorsky. It felt like a panic move to me. He has looked great so far in his limited experience back up here at the NHL level. Looks like a different player than we saw a year ago. What have you seen him bring to the ice that they were missing without him here?
Yeah, I think a player who's got a ton of skill. And anytime you look at the Blues draft picks over the years, other than like a Tarasenko and a Schwartz when they drafted them, 14 and 16, you didn't have a top 10 pick. So Robert Thomas in the 20s, good player. Then you get like Zach Bolduc comes in and he's like a 17. Snuggerud, a 22, 23. But this is a top 10 pick, Dalibor Dvorsky. So you don't know when that skill's going to take off, but at some point it's going to. And I think, honestly, that he got tired of being a guy who, okay, I'm the odd man out. I can't fit into this quote-unquote, retool. And he goes down to Springfield and does everything you ask. You guys talk to the coach down there, and it's what he said. And he comes up, and he just knows that he can make these types of plays. He knows he's got a shot. He worked on his faceoffs. Like, he's killing on the faceoffs. Forget about the shot for just 1 second. He won the faceoff in that offensive zone that led to his own first NHL goal. Yeah. So he's doing those types of things. And, frankly, forget about his inexperience. The Blues just don't have many players on the roster like him.
Do they? So between Snuggerud and Dvorsky and Holloway, because I think we all agree Robert Thomas is that star that we're talking about. Kyrou and Buchnevich are kind of like fringe stars. Of those three, of Dvorsky, Snuggerud, and Holloway, do they have a potential star in one of those guys?
Yeah, I think they could have a couple of them. But you're talking about a couple stars who play the games different ways, and you got a guy, and this is exactly what you want. If you're the Blues, you want a guy who can create and also has a shot, and then in Dvorsky, and you got a guy in Snuggerud who not only does he have the shot, but his
also
passing
can create
now that we're seeing that, but then also defensively and also getting back and also making smart plays. So, are any of the two or three of the guys that you're talking about superstars? I don't know that they're superstars, but I think they have the potential to be, and if not, it looks like they have at least a couple stars.
So if Dvorsky's here, and I think we're all in agreement, I don't know how you send this guy down. The news today of the PTO signing for Lucic, who's going to go to Springfield, does that, in your opinion, signal the end of Texier with the Blues?
Yeah, I think it has to. I think you're going to, if everybody's healthy, I think you're going to have a lot of numbers here. And at some point, it looks like they want Lucic on the roster, and he's going to go to Springfield and play some games. And, there's no timetable on this thing. It could be a week. It could be a couple weeks. But when he comes back, if everybody's healthy and you have your 14, 15 guys, Texier's got to be the odd guy out.
We're talking to Jeremy Rutherford in studio for another couple of minutes here on 101 ESPN. JR, I'm going to ask you a question that we're going to discuss coming up at 1:30. If you could only choose one, you cannot have both of these things. What is more important for the Blues? Is it for Jimmy Snuggerud to become a top-line player, whatever comes with that, right? He becomes a top-line player, or Blues make the playoffs? Which one of those things do you think is more important for the Blues this season?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Snuggerud. It's got to be, because in 3 years, are you going to look at a Snuggerud on the top line who's scoring 35 goals and he's got the one-timer on the power play and that's the type of player he is? Or 3 years ago, did the Blues make the playoffs? I can't remember. Yeah, well, no, they missed. I think that's the situation. So if you can only pick one, it's got to be Snuggerud.
What does that do then for the trajectory of this winning window if he becomes that guy after this season?
Yeah, I think that you have that top-line player. And then also you look at the situation, you've got a Thomas who's obviously a number one center, and you got a guy Dvorsky who looks more and more each day like he's a second-line center. And now you got a right winger and Snuggerud, and now the pieces are coming. Stenberg looked great in camp. Maybe he's that third-line winger that they're lacking right now.
Carbonneau and Juniors, who just continues to find the back of the net.
Carbonneau's looked terrific, and I traded text with him. He's so excited about the way the season's going. And
nice.
So yeah, I think all those pieces come together. So look, I'm not against making the playoffs. It certainly helps everything to stay smooth. And
yeah, why can't both happen, BK?
I mean, it's always going to be one or the other. This is my hypothetical game. I set the rules.
Yeah, but I think over the years there's been questions. Okay, what level is Snuggerud going to get to? And if you can sit here and tell me he's going to get to that level, I'll take that over a 2025-26.
We also didn't even mention with all these guys. I mean, Broberg. I don't know about you, but Broberg looked like a number one defenseman last night for how he was playing against McDavid.
He really did. And you know what it's just so fun to watch when you can sit up in that press box and just zero in on certain situations. And last night, one of them was when Connor McDavid has the puck. How are the Blues defending him? And not only did you see Robert Thomas at the top, getting a stick on a lot of plays, he broke up like 3 plays.
Yeah.
And then if it did get past Thomas, get back down to the defense, Broberg wasn't being patient, sitting back, giving him a step. He wasn't doing anything. He was on him. And Connor McDavid, as a result, no shots on goal last night. You pointed that out last night on social media. And I think that Broberg is getting to that point, like Jim Montgomery said in the postgame. This is a guy who was excited for that assignment. This isn't a guy who heard, hey, you got Connor McDavid tonight. This is a guy who, bring it on.
I think the difference, and this is just my opinion, I'm curious your guys' thoughts. The difference for the Blues of how to get to that consistent winning window is bottling up what Broberg did in that game, bottling up what Thomas did in that game, and getting it every single night for 82 games.
Yeah, that's the thing, the consistency. It has to be there. When we talked about that situation earlier, when you get down 2-0, the Blues had all those scoring opportunities. And they, if they're consistent, like Jim Montgomery said, you put a few of those in, you're up 2-3-1, as opposed to chasing that game 2-0. It's hard to do, but that's what the Blues need more of.
All right, can I pee in everybody's Cheerios real quick?
Dude.
What?
No.
As long as you don't have breaking Blues news while I'm on the air.
No.
Breaking news.
Can you explain to us what's going on with Logan Mayhew? He was in the lineup on Saturday, and then suddenly he wasn't in the lineup on Saturday. He's been, it seems like a healthy scratch in those 2 games. What's up with Logan Mayhew at this point?
Well, it's just the way I see it is I don't look at it like period to period, game to game, what's going on with him in terms of, hey, how come he's sitting? I look at it like, come April, will this be a successful year for him? And I'm not saying that it will be, but I'm saying that if you look in April and say, did he take the steps to get there? And this kind of goes into our conversation about, making the playoffs this year or Snuggerud being a top line player. If Logan Mayhew is that defenseman that they wanted to be in a season, 2 seasons, then they won that situation.
Sure.
You forget about Bolduc just for 1 second. Like if Mayhew becomes that guy, then they've done their job in getting him to that point. And if it meant that he had to sit out 3 games in late October, early November in 25-26 to get him there, then so be it. So, what are we seeing from him? We saw the 2 penalties, but otherwise I thought he made some steps in that game. You're starting to see the shot. You're starting to see him jump. You're starting to see him break up plays with the stick. So I just feel like the progress is going to be so incremental that it's not going to be noticeable to a lot of people, and they're going to see him in the press box and say, okay, well, this isn't working, when there is progress.
Is the expectation that he's going to be back in the lineup soon?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that, but they're going to have to be. Like, you can't, if you're not going to send him to the American Hockey League, which I don't think they should do, he should be here, he should be playing. You also can't be sitting 60% of the games.
Do yourself a favor. Stop the alert set for Montreal when Zach Bolduc scores, and you'll stop being upset about it.
No, you know where I stand on this. I'm fine with the trade.
No, you think it was for now. You think this was for them winning the cup this season.
No, I don't. I've never said that. I think it's for the future, and I'm fine with the way that they're handling it, but it is a question that we get a lot of, and honestly, it is interesting to me that, like, the Saturday thing was just, I didn't know what happened there. Yeah. He was in the lineup in pregame, and then suddenly
it was the projected lineup that they didn't really skate. It was an optional, and then all of a sudden he was out of it.
Kessel,
yeah, and that lineup was based on the game before. The social media just puts out the same lineup from the game before, and then it could have been known by the coaches all day long that Kessel was playing.
Yeah, sure. And so the last couple of games, Kessel's been in there. They've got a back-to-back. I would assume one of those. Yeah, you'll probably see Mayhew at
and I think to piggyback off of what JR said there, like, because I know that people are saying, well, just send him to the AHL so he can play. To me, I'm in agreement with JR. I don't think that does anything. I think that's what Edmonton did to Philip Broberg in the final 3 years before they finally played him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, at some point, you get sent into the minor leagues, and he'll go down there and dominate, and you'll be like, oh, cool, well, Logan Mayyew's the best player in the AHL, but when he gets back to the NHL, there's still the growing pains that happen. It's all about what
he does here. He could go down there and be Bobby Orr, but he comes back and makes 2 mistakes, and you're back in the same boat. So, yeah, he's just got to play here.
Got some breaking news for you, JR.
I knew you were going to do this to me.
Here we go.
It's not Blues related. The Jets are trading Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts.
Whoa.
How am I supposed to react?
Same way I did. Whoa.
Can we get a whoa? Like a sounder?
Give me a whoa.
Whoa.
No, it needs to be deeper and slower.
Whoa.
No, that was deeper, now slower. Now slower.
That was exactly what we needed. All right, we're going to react to that, get to some of your questions. 314-399-9646. That's coming up on the other side. JR, appreciate the time as always,
anytime.
man.
Whoa. Nailed
Questions
it.
and answers next. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on VK, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. We'll get to some of your questions here in just a moment, but we want to react to the news that just hit the NFL as the Indianapolis Colts have traded 2 first-round picks for now former New York Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner. Gardner signed a $120 million contract extension this year, Alex. He just signed that deal. And now he is going to be an Indianapolis Colt. The structure of the deal, for those nerds out there that are curious, how could they possibly make this work? I feel like the contracts are always the sticking point. The Jets structured it in a way where it's a bunch of option bonuses, so that doesn't hit their cap immediately. Instead, they basically just have like $15 million that they're on the hook for. It worked out well. The same thing is actually true in Garrett Wilson's contract that they just signed. They structured it very similarly. So if they wanted to trade Garrett Wilson, and I know you guys were bringing this up during the break, they could do that now as well.
Not just do that, they should do that. Like, if you're trading Sauce Gardner, who is a big identity piece for your team, you brought in a coach who's a defensive mindset, and you just traded away one of the best defensive players in the league, it's fire sale. Everything needs to go, and you bring in as much as possible. And Garrett Wilson could garner you probably 2 first-round picks, or at least 1. This is how you rebuild your team on the Jets side. I think it's a smart move from the Jets angle because your team's not good. You don't have a quarterback. You're going to have to go into this draft and really fix some things. But, I love this move by the Colts. Like, I might be a Colts fan now. Like, when your team is better than you thought, you say bleep them picks and you go out there and you go after it.
I like it from the Jets' perspective. You get 2 first-round picks, so this has been updated by Tom Pelissero. It's the first-round pick for the Colts in 2026 and for 2027, so it's their next 2 first-round picks and a player for Sauce Gardner. There are a lot of ways that this can go bad for the Colts. A lot of ways. I respect it, and Sauce Gardner's a good player, and he's got a good contract now coming over to the Colts, but man, you've got Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback. You're going to have to pay him big money starting next year if you keep him around. You now have no more outs. There is no other way for you to get a new quarterback. This effectively puts you into, we have to sign Daniel Jones to a long-term extension mode. I don't know if that's a spot that I would love to be in, and you're building around expensive Daniel Jones with no future first-round picks over the next couple of years. It's ballsy.
Yeah, but your roster's ready to win now. I mean, you've got the weapons.
Do either of you guys think they can actually win a Super Bowl this year?
Minus their quarterback, which is the biggest part.
It's a big deal, man.
It's the best piece that you've got right now. And, I mean, Baker Mayfield's pretty competitive with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's really fun. I love this. It's great for the NFL. I don't think it's a smart move. I think what they did today is going to be viewed as a mistake. And it's much more fun for me to sit here today and say, hot damn, I love it, Colts. And I'm the guy that typically says bleep them picks. 2 first-round picks for a corner who, by the way, has not been playing particularly well over the last couple of years. And he's on a big-time contract for a team that does not have a number 1 corner, or a number 1 quarterback, rather, that I actually believe in. And now you're locking yourself into that guy as your quarterback for probably the next 5 years on a big contract. If this was the Bills, if this is the Chiefs, if this is the Eagles, if this is a team that had, in my opinion, legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, I would be celebrating the move right now. For them, I think it's a mistake.
I just think this is as complete as your roster is going to be. You're not going to be able to go out there and get a better quarterback because free agency typically doesn't work out, and you're not drafting in the position to get a really good quarterback. You've got the MVP caliber running back. You've got a great defense that you just made even better. You found a diamond in the rough in your tight end right now. You've got reasonable weapons with Pittman and Downs. Like, it's as complete as a roster is going to be. The problem for the Colts, you're in the AFC.
Well, twofold. 1, you're in the AFC. 2, you have Daniel Jones as your quarterback, and we just watched this on Sunday.
Yeah. Now,
I just saw how it ends in the playoffs. They're going to go up against a team that makes Daniel Jones beat them. They're going to have to play for him behind, and I do not believe that Daniel Jones will be capable. I don't. It's going to be the same story, in my opinion, as what we saw last year from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Colts offense has been better than Minnesota's was last year. I need to give them full credit. The Colts are a really good football team. It reminds me, the better comparison is honestly probably what the Titans were when they had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And the Titans ended up with the number 1 seed, and we went into the playoffs, and not a soul believed in them. Not one of us. And you know what? We were right. Because they lost. they lost to the team that had the quarterback. Alex, I am giving my perspective on this. I don't know how this is going to go. None of us do. My personal opinion on the matter, as we're reacting to this live on the air, is that the Colts made a potentially devastating mistake today to overcompensate for the fact that they have not been aggressive in their roster moves for like 7 years. And so I think they are going to live to regret this. I respect it, though. It's a ballsy move, and they have a really good football team. I would rather my team veer in this direction than be ultra cautious, which is what the Colts have been for really ever since Chris Ballard has been there. So it's ballsy. It's aggressive. I like that. It's all really fun. I think they will live to regret it because I do not think this is a legitimate Super Bowl team, and I think the only way this makes sense is if you are a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
The reason that I don't mind the move and doing it, and yes, I understand it is 2 first-round picks, which are very valuable in the NFL. I've seen quarterbacks like Joe Flacco get to and win a Super Bowl. I've seen Blaine Gabbert push Tom Brady to the brink of getting to a Super Bowl in Jacksonville. Why did those teams do it? Or Bortles, sorry, excuse me. Why were those teams able to do it? Yeah, it wasn't because of the quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback and Flacco played well, but we didn't trust Flacco going into that playoffs. It's because they were complete rosters. And I think if you're the Colts, to what you were saying, do we just cautiously go through this song and dance with Daniel Jones, probably waste an all-time year from Jonathan Taylor, and just kind of just sit in this mediocrity state for 5 to 7 years? Or do we see if we can just completely complete this roster around the edges outside the quarterback spot and just hope that Daniel Jones plays well for 3 games and go on to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, because
I think you take that chance.
Jonathan Taylor gets hurt. I mean, you're bleeped. I mean, he's just as big of a piece to this team as Daniel Jones is.
Sure.
And we know how running backs are, man. They break and they're gone quick. So it feels like you need to pounce. I just saw the breakdown. He makes $9.5 million next year before he goes to $20 million in 2027. You've got this year. Yeah, you've got this year and next year. You got a 2-year window to try and go out there. And, I mean, you might have one of the best defenses right now in the AFC with Sauce Gardner on that.
Maybe. I like this. Both of you guys are in on the move. It makes it for a hell of a lot more fun. Also, I'm wrong about everything, so go bet on the Colts to win the Super Bowl.
I can't wait for the Colts to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's going to be so much fun.
I like the move, and now I even like the move more.
Because of the possibility of what it means for the playoffs.
Also, I hope Garrett Wilson gets traded to a really fun team also.
How awesome would it be? Gardner's the one that picks off Mahomes and seals the Chiefs being eliminated in the playoffs.
I'm going to get another picture, updated 5 years later, of BK looking at the TV in dread when he loses to the Colts.
Can I ask you a follow-up question on this? Yeah. No, they wouldn't have been on it because they didn't know that their team was going to be this good. Would you rather have Micah Parsons or Sauce Gardner? Because they basically got traded for the same compensation.
For the Colts? Probably Sauce.
I'd rather have Micah Parsons.
I would too. Yeah, but you couldn't make the move at the time.
The timing just didn't work, but it was 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons. It's 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. By the way, the Colts also gave up A.D. Mitchell. That trade was made whenever he failed to hold on to the ball going into the end zone.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of what do we have to attach to him.
Be there anymore.
I was curious before it got reported that it was A.D. Mitchell. I wonder if they sent Richardson in that deal, which I could have seen where they just said, hey, another project.
I do find it interesting that they got a wide receiver in this deal.
Yeah.
I hope Garrett Wilson goes to the Bills.
That'd be amazing.
I'd give
the Bills giving up multiple first-round picks for Garrett Wilson. I would celebrate that. I would say that's a really smart
I hope
move.
they do. They go get a guy who wants to win. You put him with Josh Allen and make that offense elite.
Are there any other teams outside the Bills that makes sense for?
The Ravens.
Like to push all in, give up a first or 2.
Ravens.
I thought about them. They make sense. I wish the Packers didn't give up their 2 for
Detroit
Parsons.
would have made a lot of sense to go get Sauce Gardner and give up this package.
You guys are going to call me crazy because I just said what I did about the Colts. The Broncos, to me, even make more sense.
For Wilson? Mm-hmm. I could see that.
I get that. I mean, their quarterback can't hit the guy, but
they could use one more.
Chargers could use a lot right now.
On Packers. They don't have the picks. They couldn't do it because they just gave everything up for Parsons.
The Lions should have paid this for Sauce Gardner.
I don't think they can make it work cap-wise because of the money that's going to be on the books.
That's true. They just re-signed Aiden Hutchinson too.
Yeah, they've got everybody signed on long-term deals now, so I don't think they can make it work. But that's part of it, is being able to financially fit somebody like this into your books. All right, we just took up the entire time for questions and answers. So what we're going to do is on the other side, we will actually do questions and answers. We won't play the bet or anything, T-Bone, but
play it again.
We spent all of this talking about
that was your NFL quick hitters.
Was arguably the biggest move that'll be made today. Today is the NFL's trade deadline. If you missed it, the official news: the Indianapolis Colts have sent A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver, formerly of Texas. He was there, I think, 2nd-round pick a year ago. in 2 first-round picks. The Colts 2026 and 2027 first-round picks to the New York Jets, and in return, they get Sauce Gardner, a former All-Pro cornerback who just signed a multi-year, long-term extension. He is now going to be a member of the Indianapolis Colts. Coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for our actual segment of questions and answers here on BK and Ferrario. Hey, it's BK for my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Check them out today. You can do so online at victorymenshealth.com. When you get over there, you can find out all of the things that they have to offer, whether it's dealing with weight or dealing with erectile dysfunction. You want to lose some of that unwanted weight, especially as we get into the holiday season now. They can help you out with that. They can also check your testosterone levels over there at Victory Men's Health. Go in today, book that first appointment. Do so online at victorymenshealth.com. They're going to make it a super easy process for you. Put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. They offer so much over there, and the best part about being at Victory Men's Health is that every time you walk in, you're going to a state-of-the-art location out in O'Fallon, Missouri, O'Fallon, Illinois, Sunset Hills, or Town and Country. Those are their 4 locations. You walk in, they've got leather couches. You walk to the back where they've got their vitamin infusions. It is absolutely stunning. Hang out back there, have great conversation. It's all available for you today. Check them out at Victory Men's Health and online at victorymenshealth.com. All right, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. We took up all of your time in the last segment by discussing
What a jerk.
a huge trade in the NFL. As Sauce Gardner has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts from the Jets, the former All-Pro corner, multiple first-round picks going in return to the Jets. They also get A.D. Mitchell, who's not just some throw-in. This is a former top 75 overall pick in the NFL draft at wide receiver. So I really like it for the Jets. The two of you guys really like it for the Indianapolis Colts. Time will tell which side of things ultimately gets the upper hand. The NFL's trade deadline, rather, is today. The other move that has been made, the Saints are trading wide receiver Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks. The Saints will get a 4th and a 5th round pick. Alex, I love this deal for the Seahawks. I personally think if you're the Bills, this is the kind of move that you should have been looking to make. Shaheed is exactly the type of player that they don't have in their offense. They need some kind of a deep threat, and Shaheed might be the best one in the NFL right now. I love it for the Seahawks, though. That offense is amazing to watch, man. They're just bombs away all day long.
Yeah, I mean, when you got Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba, just go out there and find as many weapons as possible. So I hope that the Bills just have something deeper planned and don't just end this trade deadline with, well, we tried, because you can't just try when you got the Chiefs.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. All right, from the 314. Guys, in terms of a potential MLB salary cap, do you have any thoughts on how they would set the upper limit? Do you think there's a chance that teams could have to shed salary, potentially substantial salary, just to stay compliant? That's where it gets really tough. Everything about implementing some kind of a salary cap in Major League Baseball is difficult. How you end up grandfathering in the previous contracts, that's tough. How you do the new pre-arb/arbitration system, that's tough. How you set the upper limit, it would have to be in relation to the overall revenues. Typically, what sports do is a percentage of the league's revenues are divvied up among the owners and the players. So the players get 46% of all league revenue. However, they have to decide what the revenues are. What are the streams of revenues that count towards baseball-related revenue in their mind? That is something that they will not agree upon. So all of these are reasons why there will not be a cap and why it will not be implemented. But those are all the things that would have to be done if, in a hypothetical world, they were going to do it.
Yeah, and I think if you do it, I think, one, like you said, they got to agree on what baseball revenue is. So, one, you'd have to get owners to admit, Ballpark Village technically counts towards baseball revenue, because you know what wouldn't be there if there wasn't a ballpark there? I don't know. Ballpark Village. So you got to agree upon that, and that's for multiple teams across the country. The Braves have got that. Everybody's trying to seek out their own version of that. And then I think what you do is you use that, you create whatever that percentage is that ends up becoming the cap. And if I'm Major League Baseball, I think you have to give 3 years for teams to become cap compliant. That way you get some time for a team like the Dodgers, who will be well over it, to figure out, okay, well, how do we figure this out? How do we get to being cap compliant? And I hope that if they did do it, and again, this isn't going to happen, but I would hope that they would make it to where the cap is easy to understand. And what I mean by that is you just do what the NHL does. Whatever the AAV of the contract is, that's what counts towards the cap, not this circumventing it with deferrals, not what the NFL does, where it's really hard to figure out what is the cap, what's not, what is dead money, what's not. No, whatever the AAV is the deal, like Ohtani's $700 million deal, whatever that AAV is, that's what he counts towards the cap.
And that's what the hockey. That's what the NHL does.
But then hockey still defers money. They have signing bonuses, but all of it AAV goes towards the cap. It benefits teams in terms of what you're spending and what you're not spending.
Also,
but the cap is set.
Yeah.
From the 618, guys, if you could start a new hockey franchise today and you say every player in the league is available with the salary cap as it is, who would you pick to be on your team? Who would you have as the number one selection? We could say that the team name is the Winter Soldiers for Anthony. Okay, so you're starting the Winter Soldiers. Let's say you're in...
Terrible team name, first of all. There's no argument here. It's Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Really? Even with the cap?
Yeah, he's making $11.5 million compared to what some of these other... It's either McDavid or McKinnon, and I think McKinnon's around 12. It's one of those guys.
Yeah.
I'd go Macklin Celebrini.
That guy's
I'm not kidding.
I mean, he's a beast. I'm not going to disagree with you there.
I'd go Macklin
He's
Celebrini.
19,
He's 19 years old. I have him for the next 15 years. I think he's one of the best players in the league already. I would just start my franchise with him. He'd be my number one pick in this,
a great
in this
pick.
draft. He's cheap. He's cost controlled. I'm going to have him forever. Yeah. I'd go with Macklin Celebrini.
I get that pick. I am a huge Celebrini fan. I think that guy's a stud. I don't know that he ever gets to McDavid level, and that's why I would
Totally fair.
Or
That's
McKinnon
why
level.
if I'm weighing that's why if I'm weighing 15 years of Celebrini or I don't know, what do you think, 10 more of McDavid,
Yeah.
I'll take 5 fewer years for McJesus.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From the 314, guys, how do you think Lucic will fit on the roster whenever Neighbors comes back? Man, that's a lot of time, but
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 3.5 plus weeks before you even worry about that. He's the 13th forward. Yeah, I mean, that's how. Like, he's taking Texier's spot where he barely plays. And if he plays, it's going to be a fringe start here or there or if an injury happens. Even without Neighbors, you're talking Walker or Sundqvist out of the lineup. And when Neighbors comes back, now you're talking 2 of those 3 out of the lineup.
Well, who gets kicked off the roster when Lucic is here?
Texier.
That's what I'm wondering. Well, no, sorry, not Lucic.
When
When
Neighbors is back.
comes back and you have Lucic.
That's the tough part.
'Cause then
Probably Joseph, depending on where he's at in terms of playing time. And maybe it's Lucic, to be honest with you. Maybe you get a 4-week span of Lucic, and then it's okay. That was it. Not really impacting our team. We can't move on from Joseph, but it's Walker, Joseph, or you move on from Lucic, or you send Dvorsky back down. But if he's playing well, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I think Lucic would already, if I'm just projecting forward, when Neighbors comes back and Lucic takes Texier's spot, Lucic is the odd man out right now. It just is a 3-week period. You see if you get a little bit of boost from him. I don't understand their whole need for Lucic. I get it if you're saying, hey, Lucic, we want him over Texier. I don't know who I'm keeping him over on everybody else that's on the roster when Neighbors is
And
back.
to be 100% with it, some of these things work themselves out. Yeah. You know, you're going to have an injury probably by the time that Neighbors comes back. It's rare that you're 100% healthy with your entire roster at the end of December. So
Now you sound like a GM, you know.
been around him long enough, I guess.
it's 12:18. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. One more NFL trade. This one much more insignificant to pass along here on BK and Ferrario. It is trade deadline day in the NFL. According to Adam Schefter, the Browns are sending defensive end Joe Tryon and a 7th-round pick to the Chicago Bears. In exchange, they will get a 6th-round pick. So it's Joe Tryon plus a 7th to the Chicago Bears for a 6th-round pick. Chicago lost one of their depth defensive ends on Sunday, so now they're able to replace him with a different defensive
Come
end.
on, Browns, don't be cowards. Trade Myles Garrett.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK.
Make
Coming
this
up
interesting.
next, let's play a game of Better to Forget It here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are betting it or forgetting it here on 101 ESPN. Alex, bet it or forget it, the Dodgers will three-peat next year. It was the talk of the town yesterday as they were doing their parade out in Los Angeles.
I'll say bet it. I mean, their biggest opponent is going to be in the National League because, I mean, we've already talked about Seattle and Toronto not getting close to it from what they were this past year, and I don't think the Yankees are going to be there. Maybe the Red Sox, but I'll say bet it. Lean into it. Evil Empire continues.
I'll say forget it.
Get us a salary cap.
I think the reason they don't three-peat, I loved what they did going into this year with their rotation because it was like fresh bodies that hadn't pitched in the last October run. And why do teams typically flail out when they go for the repeat? It's because it's the same rotation and they've added all those extra innings in October. Dodgers didn't have that issue. Glasnow didn't pitch in the first World Series for them. The only guy from their rotation that pitched in that World Series in 2024 was Yamamoto. That was it. Glasnow didn't, Snell didn't, Sasaki wasn't here yet, and then I don't remember who the one is. The one I'm forgetting. But this time around, it's going to be all the same guys in the rotation, and I think they're going to have a tough time staying healthy like they did. I don't think they're going to get lucky and they all get healthy at the right time again. And if that's the case, I do think they showed they are a little bit vulnerable. Now, I do think they'll try and reinforce it, like Kyle Tucker might be signed, but
No, it's cute that you think they're not going to go out there and sign another pitcher.
I don't think they do. I don't think they will spend more money on the rotation. They might throw more money at their bullpen, which I think would be a mistake. I think if anything, they're going to try and get younger with their position core because their position core is old.
That's what I did. I texted you that, didn't I? It's like, cool, he's going to the Dodgers.
Yeah, they'll just sign Imanaga. They'll just
going to have the Korean baseball league in their rotation.
One of the guys that's coming over from Japan this offseason, probably one of the hitters, the guy that's going to hit like 100 home runs in Major League Baseball.
Out there and
he's just going to
sign a one-year deal for like Shane Bieber or something like that to let him go win a World Series and reset the market.
I'm going to forget it, though, because of what T-Bone said. It's really hard to do this back-to-back years, and it's even harder to do it in 3 straight seasons. I do not think that the Dodgers will win the World Series next year, so can't wait for them to do so. Congratulations, 2026 World Series champion, LA Dodgers. Alex, what do you got for us?
I hope they do. I want a salary cap. Guys, bet it or believe it or not. Bet it or forget it. Dalibor Dvorsky will be playing in the Olympics.
Sure. I mean, who else are you going to pick?
Whoa.
He's not wrong. I looked at Team Slovakia projected roster last night on postgame. There's like 4 dudes playing in the NHL. Now, they get guys that are playing over in Europe and Sweden and things, but there is not a whole lot of options for Team Slovakia. So I think if he stays up here, I think he's probably playing in the Olympics, which, man, would that be good for the Blues.
Yeah, okay, fine. I guess I would bet it. I could, since it is Slovakia, they don't have a ton of talent for the international. Is France in? Are we going to see Texie at the Olympics?
France is in. Texie's playing.
Yes.
Even if he's in the American Hockey League, he'll be playing.
How could we let that guy go? Bet it.
Easy. Doesn't match the identity of the team, man.
T-Bone?
Guys, bet it or forget it. Tonight, one thing that'll really upset BK for tomorrow, but bet it or forget it. Tonight, the college football playoff rankings come out from the selection committee. You know, the thing where everybody overreacts to the first rankings. Bet or forget it, Notre Dame will not be in the top 12 for the first rankings.
Let me go look real quick. I'll say forget it. They'll be somewhere in the top 12.
I think I'm in agreement there. I'm going to forget that. I don't know how many other teams push them down.
Yeah, they'll be in the top 12.
See, I'm going to bet this. I think they get leapfrogged by Virginia, who I think they will, or by Virginia, potentially Louisville, and I think maybe Oklahoma or Texas leapfrogs them.
So you're saying the one-loss teams are in front of them?
Yeah, and I think the playoff committee will put them ahead of Notre Dame, and then I wonder how the committee's going to look at them, because supposedly they're looking at strength of schedule. I wonder how they'll view those 2-loss SEC schools over Notre Dame, who doesn't have much more resume building to be able to pick up signature wins.
Yeah.
Close loss, though, against Miami. Close loss against A&M.
That Miami, like we talked about that Miami game.
Else.
That Miami game does not look as good.
No, but that A&M one.
Yeah, but A&M does.
It's still by 3 points. It's still on the road. Virginia, meanwhile, lost on the road at NC State.
A non-con game.
Yeah,
Explain
and they
that
have
one.
overtime victories against Florida State, Louisville, and North Carolina. And they won by 2 against Washington State. I'm not putting that team over.
And kicked the crap out of USC. Your team couldn't even kick the crap out of them. They just won by a couple points.
Yeah, I'm not putting that team over Notre Dame, who lost by 1. We bring up the Miami game. They lost by 1 against a team that right now you can make an argument for Texas A&M as the #1 team in the country.
Yeah.
The only team that I think has definitively been better than them is Indiana. I think it's Indiana 1, and then like 2-3, it's Ohio State and Texas A&M right now.
Yeah, I'm going to bet this. I think they're not in the top 12 from the first playoff committee.
I think you're going to get upset tomorrow when they are.
Well, I think people are going to overreact, and they're going to see BYU and Texas Tech in the top 12.
When do
I think
we
those
ever
two teams
overreact?
play each other this week.
Yeah, none of this really matters all that much.
Yeah, it just shows you your path to
Exactly.
okay, what do we need to happen for us to get to the playoff?
All right, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are betting it or forgetting it. From the 314, Bet It or Forget It, the Cardinals will trade at least 4 players from their current 26-man roster.
Arenado.
Donovan, maybe.
I think one of Donovan or Burley.
Probably.
I think JoJo. I think JoJo's
I think he's a
a
definite
serious
ideal.
trade
I think
candidate.
Sonny
this
Gray
offseason.
might be gone too. Yeah,
Same.
I'll say bet it. Because I think Gorman might be in this conversation as well.
Yeah, he's possible.
If you said more than 4 trades, I might have said under. Because
You
it's
think maybe a
possible they
couple of
package
yeah.
1 or 2 of these guys
2
together,
trades
but-
with 4 guys, I could see that happening.
Yeah, I think I will go over. I think they will have at least 4.
Yeah,
got it.
I'm going to bet it. I think it'll be 4. I think it would be Gray, Arenado, one of Johnny or Burleson. Probably, I'm having a tough time figuring out who the 4th. I don't think it's JoJo. I think they're going to approach that like they did Helsley. They're going to hold on to him till the deadline and get a better value for
Guy
him.
in charge, worth noting.
Yeah, but
This one actually gets it done in the offseason.
Yeah, but I think there's more value for him at the deadline.
That's what we said
There's
about
potentially
Helsley.
more. I mean, they got a good return.
Sure.
A lot of people on the text line are saying, guys, Notre Dame beat NC State by almost 40. Yeah, that's the difference between them and Virginia. 314-399-9646.
Virginia's only got one
That's the Air
loss. Are
Comfort
we
Service
ever
text
going to
line.
make wins matter in college football?
No, fun matters.
Beat good teams.
Oh, hell no.
That matters.
Cover.
Notre Dame didn't beat good teams.
At least they
They've lost
covered.
to 2.
Beat USC.
They're
they
not that
covered.
good.
That would be the best win of Virginia's schedule.
Ugh,
And then they covered in Texas A&M.
nah,
Lost by a point.
nah.
You're arguing for Virginia, dude. Like,
You
their
just wanna
best
be
win
right.
was against
Yeah, man.
Florida State, who's not good.
Why do you? Who wants to see Virginia in?
I want
Nobody
to
wa-
see them in.
Even
I wanna
Virginia
see a
fans are
small
thinking it's
ACC school
basketball
make it.
season.
I'm
No,
not.
they're not.
I don't really care either way because these rankings basically don't matter. So
But
if
we'll
they're
open with it
13th
tomorrow.
or 12th or 10th, it doesn't really matter all that much. But I mean, if we're going to have the conversation of which team deserves to be ranked higher, I truly don't know what the argument is in favor of Virginia.
Oh, keep
I
asking
think you're-
T-Bone. He's a big
I think
Virginia
you're
fan.
ridiculous. They beat Bill Belichick in overtime.
That's
is-
a knock against them.
If you had to say, this is my trump card, this is the best
They
team
have
that
one
Virginia
loss.
has beaten so far this year.
They
What
beat
is,
Bill Belichick's team.
is it Florida State?
It's actually probably Louisville. It's Louisville in overtime. On the road, my friend.
Nice win. Nice, solid win. You think Louisville's good?
They're solid. I think USC's solid, though.
But yet he's not putting Louisville in. He's putting Virginia in.
No, they're not a playoff team.
That's fine. I'm okay
Take it
with
to the bank.
keeping them out, but I just don't know who you're putting in front of them. That's the problem. Like, I just need an alternative.
Give me the Cavaliers of Virginia.
Okay. Cool.
Brandon.
Enjoy that one.
I almost called them the Volunteers. It goes to show you where I'm at.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll dive into the junk drawer. But next, is there any realistic path for the Cardinals to pull off a Toronto-style turnaround in 2026? I want you guys to know this was not my idea. We'll get into it next here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends over at Classic Air Care, who is here to help you take care of your HVAC system and frankly keep it going once you get to the blistering cold, the heat that we deal with in St. Louis and Missouri. All of that, Classic Air Care is helping you maintain your older unit. And I talk about I've used them since 2016. My dad's been using them since as long as I can remember, and it's because of the customer service. It's because of the knowledge that those technicians provide. But check out the 5-star reviews that they have on a Google Plus. They got over 1,000 ratings over there talking about the experience they've had with Classic Air Care. This one from Rita. I've been using Classic Air Care since I purchased my home 7 years ago. The original HVAC was 16 years old, had a few issues that were able to be serviced. I finally had a new system installed. Whole process was seamless and affordable. Highly recommend this company and their technicians, always friendly and reliable. So schedule your appointment today. You check out the maintenance agreement that they have twice a year, helping you maintain that older unit. You can schedule online at classicaircare.com. Just do me a favor, tell them Alex Ferrario sent you at Classic Air Care and classicaircare.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues took down the Oilers last night 3-2, snapping their 7-game losing streak. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they visit the Washington Capitals. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And the big news out of the NFL today, the New York Jets are trading cornerback Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts for wide receiver A.D. Mitchell and 2 first-round picks. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, college basketball for you as Duke takes on Texas. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 7 o'clock with tip-off at 7:45. This Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Don't yell at me. I didn't come up with this topic idea.
Don't lie to the listeners. You walked in, you said, guys, Cardinals are going to the World Series next year.
I saw this on Cardinals.com this morning from John Denton. The title of the piece, How the Cardinals Can Pull Off a Toronto-Style Turnaround in 2026. I said, all right, John,
Is he talking
you got me.
Is he talking Toronto Maple Leafs? Because they drafted top 5 in like 5 straight years.
I'll click on it. What do you got for me?
Clickbait.
And he said the following things need to happen for the Blue Jays to serve as the blueprint
Nice.
for the St. Louis Cardinals in 2026.
Good job, John.
Part 1, be aggressive in promoting their players. Look at Trey Savage. He was a guy that this time last year, nobody saw serving in this kind of a role for a World Series contender. Liam Doyle, maybe he could be that for the Cardinals next year. You look at some of the other players coming through the pipeline right now. You've got J.J. Weatherholtz. Ray Rodriguez is one of the more exciting young prospects in Major League Baseball. He's not even yet 19 years old. He had a 950 OPS this year. He could be a future catcher, DH at the Major League level. Maybe he gets here quicker than expected. So promote aggressively. That's number 1. Number 2, continue to develop a deep lineup that puts the ball in play. Talked about how the Blue Jays did not strike out very often, and the Cardinals need to do something similar.
But they don't even have a roster close to doing that right now.
The thought process, Alex, theoretically, Ivan Herrera is a good player. He does not strike out much. Brendan Donovan, if he's still here, does not strike out much. Alec Burleson, same thing. Mason Wynn, maybe he takes a step. Maybe they don't trade Wilson Contreras. Again, Ray Rodriguez, J.J. Weatherholtz. You've got all these guys. Maybe they do develop into like the next level of their former selves. Take a step offensively.
Explain Jordan Walker and Victor Scott then to me. Really, your whole outfield.
I mean, maybe Jordan Walker is the guy that becomes that star for you. He becomes for you what they have in Vlad Guerrero Jr. I'm not telling you it's likely. I'm telling you this is what would have to happen for you to have.
If that's one of his blueprints, I'm out on this plan.
Next thing up, this is, I believe, number 3. Partner with the Pirates.
Oh, Paul Skeens.
Trade for Mitch Keller, who is owed a reasonable $55 million over the next 3 seasons. So you get a new starting pitcher. And then the final thing that you need to do is what the Blue Jays did. You sign Max Scherzer. You bring him home, add him to the roster. So you've promoted aggressively. You've kept most of your offensive contributors internally, so that way you don't have a strikeout problem. You've added Max Scherzer. You've added Mitch Keller. And you are the 2026 version of the Toronto Blue Jays.
I have a couple of questions.
No critiquing.
No, I'm just, no, it's a couple of questions. So who are you moving off of this roster to bring up Rodriguez and J.J. Weatherholt?
Are you saying they don't have room?
Yeah.
No, they've got room.
Well, are you moving off? Oh, who are you trading? I didn't hear any trades in this blueprint.
Over in The Athletic, Katie Wu, it wasn't like a report, but speculation that she believes this offseason they could look to move a catcher, and it's not the catchers that we've talked about. She talks about Pedro Pages potentially being a trade chip for the Cardinals this offseason.
Which shocked me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It also makes a lot of sense.
Maybe, but it still doesn't answer.
We've got to get our minds around the idea that, like, maybe this... Sorry, that sounded Tony.
It was very Tony.
It didn't sound Tony. Was Tony.
Yeah, I apologize. Woo. Yikes, BK.
Damn.
I wasn't even arguing with anything.
I didn't even in the Blues midst
know.
of their turmoil. I never said we need to get our heads around.
I don't know what happened there.
You need to get your heads around chilling
Did you take
over
your
there.
pills this morning?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Whoa.
I'm really sorry.
Apparently, he does believe this blueprint.
The Cardinals might approach things differently now. Maybe, Chaim Bloom being in charge really is going to be different. I saw Katie Wu also reported that the ownership group is now more open to including money in a Nolan Arenado deal, which apparently was not something they were okay with last year. We've seen them already invest in the infrastructure, mostly in human capital, with guys that are filling positions that have been vacant for years inside of the organization. So maybe this change in leadership with Chaim Bloom being in charge is exactly what they needed for somebody to now go fight the battles. I mean, let's be real. Like, as you get further on into a marriage, there are just some battles you don't fight anymore. Maybe you could win them, but it's not even worth arguing. So maybe by the end, Mo was like, it's not worth me even asking about that. I've got other stuff that I'll ask about. I'm not going to ask him to throw in $10 million on this Nolan Arenado deal or whatever it may be. I'm not going to ask him to fill this position down in the minor league system when I know it's probably not going to happen. I'll ask about this other stuff, the $10 million pitcher that we need at the major league level. That's the battle that I'm willing to fight. And maybe Chaim is now like, hey, let's see what I can get. And they're saying yes to stuff that they previously weren't. So
Well, then that's on Mo. Okay, well, I wrapped my head around that for you, buddy. No, I wrapped my head around that. Second follow-up question to the blueprint.
What was the first one?
How are they making space for all of
Who's
this?
getting off of this roster? Arenado's gone. Pedro Pajes is gone. Joel Pozo's gone. Jose Fermin is gone. Let's say JC's traded.
Oh, man, all these are just big pieces.
I know
Lars
you're only
Nootbaar's
doing the 26, but man, we can really keep cutting off the 40 man.
Remember when they acted as if the 40 man?
Pozo, Arenado, Fermin, Prieto, Church, Koperniak, Ciani. That is 8 position players.
Remember
that
when
I think maybe 1 or 2 of them?
You remember when the Cardinals were like, "Hey, we don't have 40-man roster space for some of these guys."
And then they watched Baker leave.
Other question with all of this. So I'm supposed to believe that adding Mitch Keller and Max Scherzer on top of 2 guys who have never played at the major league level is how this team turns into a World Series contender.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm in. I'm invested.
I don't think the idea is necessarily like, hey,
Isn't Mitch Keller like a 2 or a 3?
You don't have any
maybe.
maybe.
Okay, and you don't even have a 1.
Doyle's a 1. Sonny Gray, I'm assuming he's saying is staying in this scenario, is a 2. Mitch Keller's your 3.
Again, where are all these spots coming from for the space?
Libby's your 4.
I don't think we can afford
Quinn
that
Matthews
rotation.
your 5, probably.
Wait, we signed Scherzer.
Yeah, you
put him
signed
there?
Scherzer.
He's in the bullpen.
What?
And tell me what your outfield is in this scenario.
Walker's out there somewhere.
Oh, okay, so the guy that doesn't make contact.
No, I told you he is going to become your Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Okay, cool.
Victor Scott II
Also
is in
doesn't
center
make
field.
contact.
Yeah, that's he's defense first.
Are we playing Burleson in left?
Well, yeah.
Donnie's probably in left field.
Okay. And so who's playing second?
JJ Weatherholt.
Who's playing third?
Thomas to JC.
Okay.
He took a step offensively.
Sure he did. Who's your DH?
Alec Burleson.
Rotating door.
So where's Rodriguez playing? Because he was in this team, right?
Well, he's later on in the season.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say when he said promote
When we get there,
fast, I assume he didn't
he's
mean
actually going to be the DH at that point in time, and then so JC goes to the bench, Donovan goes to third.
And in what month will Ivan Herrera become an outfielder for the team?
No, he's a
Yeah, he's
catcher.
a catcher.
Full-time
okay.
catcher.
For some reason we missed him.
That's why we're trading Pedro Pajes in this
You know
scenario.
what? This blueprint is starting to make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. I've wrapped my head around it, Brandon.
Is there
Could
any...
somebody help Brandon?
Go back and listen to the junk drawer yesterday if you'd like to hear what that reference was for. Is there any way to actually do what John Denton is talking about here, where the Cardinals take a page out of the Blue Jays blueprint?
I don't think so because yes, but I think you have to be a lot more aggressive than what the John Denton laid out. Mitch Keller's not getting you there. You need a legit number 2.
The reason the Blue Jays won 74 games last year. They were a really bad team last year. Now, some of that was injury related, but a lot of it was guys just didn't perform. I mean, you look back a couple of seasons ago, some of their best players, like Bo Bichette, we like him right now,
He was
right?
terrible
We all
last
think he's a
year.
good player.
Yeah.
He had a 600 OPS 2 seasons ago. Clement, who just broke the record for most hits in a postseason, he had a 692 OPS 2 years ago. Schneider, who came in and played like half of these games for them, hit 191. Dalton Varsho hit .215 and was a below league average hitter. George Springer, who hit like a MVP candidate this year, 2 years ago, hit .220 and had an OPS below 700. It was a generally bad baseball team. Even Alejandro Kirk, who's like just a professional hitter in every possible way. The guy's an ass kicker at the plate. Not 2 years ago, he wasn't. He was terrible. He was below league average offensively. And then you go over to their pitching side of things. Like, they were okay, but they did not have the same upside that they did in their rotation this past year. Most of those guys did not pitch for them in 2025. Like, Jose Barrios hurt most of the season. Kevin Gossman and Chris Bassett were both there for them, but Bassett was a reliever by the time they got to the playoffs. And then you've got Kikuchi, who spent basically half the season with him, and this year was not on the roster, and Rodriguez, who's not on the roster. So they just completely overhauled things. And then they got a lot of internal improvements. So if I was going to make the case, Alex, how do the Cardinals follow this blueprint? Hey, you just got to get internal improvements for everybody offensively. It's about the young guys on your roster that you believe in, just taking that next step. It happened for the Blue Jays. Did anybody think it was going to? I don't know. I would say even the people in Toronto that believed in this team were probably pretty skeptical of this team becoming what they ultimately were. I don't think that the Cardinals have this kind of upside. I don't think that's in there. They don't have a Vlad Guerrero Jr. on the roster today. But could they be a hell of a lot better than what people are currently anticipating? That part I'm willing to say is yes, at least possible. Because weird stuff happens in Major League Baseball. We didn't see the Tigers coming the way that they did this year. A lot of the time, teams are a year ahead of schedule. The Orioles were a year ahead of schedule. Now, they never actually capitalized on it, but they were a year ahead of schedule when they got good. The Cubs, honestly, kind of have been a year ahead of schedule in their build as well. They were in 2015 when they played against the Cardinals in the postseason. So it's not crazy to believe the Cardinals could be like an 85 or an 86 win team next year. I just don't see 94.
I have a genuine question because
I think what you said's crazy.
I typically agree. Like, there can be surprises, right? Like, Baltimore was a year ahead of schedule, as you mentioned. Detroit, those teams that you brought up. Can you be a quote unquote year ahead of schedule when you're kind of tearing down, retooling, not building up? Because like when I like those teams you bring up, Detroit, yeah, they were a surprise. They were also building up. Now, granted, you could argue they tore down at the deadline, so maybe that's the example you look for, but they just went hot for 2 months. We're talking 6 months of a surprise. You mentioned Baltimore. Baltimore had been a team that had gone through the rebuild and were on the verge of escaping it. Like, I could see how they got a year ahead of schedule. How can you do that when I think your offseason is full of cutting payroll and when I mean cutting payroll, I mean like trading Arnado Gray and then, trading up Brendan Donovan for value.
The Brewers. What the Brewers did. That's what it would have to be. Your guys internally take that next step. No, I didn't see the Brewers coming this year. I thought they were going to go the other direction because they were shedding payroll. They were trading guys. They do the same thing that they've done over the last few years. They just continue to do it, and they continue to cycle through these good young players. So that would be the one counter argument. The fact that I can name one team that fits into that criteria, though, speaks to how much of an outlier
it is. Well, and then my counter to the counter, and it's not because like I don't want that to happen, right? That would be great. Your pitching pipeline's not there.
No doubt.
Like, I like Doyle. Quinn Matthews is fun. Then what? Like, the Brewers, like, they just keep throwing. Mizorowski came out of nowhere, and he's like a baby reindeer that's thrown 105.
The Brewers are the exception, obviously. All these other teams you guys are referencing, they have one thing that the Cardinals don't have, an MVP candidate.
Well, T-Bone will tell you the Brewers have it, too, with Yelich, but I'd
agree with that one, but that was like 10 years ago.
Just
MVP
so we're
candidate.
clear, did win an MVP.
Yeah, it's true. Not now. It was like 10 years ago, but still won an MVP. But, I mean, Toronto, Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr., like Baltimore. They had Rutschman, and on top of that, the shortstop, which I'm blanking on his name right now. Henderson, thank you. Like, you don't have anybody close to that. Herrera would be the closest thing, and I still haven't seen it for a full season yet.
That's the thing. Like, Herrera's numbers are in line with those guys that you're talking about.
Sure, but for like what? Somewhere between 80 and 90 games in a season?
He's going to have to develop more power. Like, that's the answer.
Yeah, you
for
don't have a
Herrera.
30-plus home run guy.
I'm going to try to say this without tone.
Well,
I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to try to say it without tone.
You already just told us.
Ivan Herrera's power, I think, has become underrated. Ivan Herrera had 19 home runs this year in 105 games. It's like a 25 to 30 home run hitter.
That's like T-Bone. That's like T-Bone telling me that Nolan Gorman can hit 40 home runs in a season.
It's not though. It's real. Like he did
Is it? Because I've never seen Gorman do it.
Over the past 2 years, he's played in 179 games and he has 25 home runs. That's real power. That's the power production that we're talking about. It's not potential. It's power production that we're seeing realized at the major league level.
But not at 162 games.
Well, and here's my bigger question.
And that's a question, especially with him behind the plate. Can he stay healthy behind the plate and be this hitter? I don't know, but
it was the same question.
Power's real. It's there. I don't have any questions about it.
It's the same question I was asking about Lars Nootbaar. That like I know what everything's saying, how good he is, but he can't stay healthy for 162. So I can't bank on that guy. What I can bank on is Guerrero Jr. being there for that team every single game, every single night.
No doubt. We have not seen it yet. And so, like, seeing is believing. We haven't seen it yet with Ivan Herrera over 162. He has the potential, though, because I've seen the production when he's on the field. It's about staying on the field and doing it as a catcher at the major league level. That part I can't speak to. But, Alex, you asked, who are there guys that can do this? I think Herrera is one. They hope that J.J. Weatherholtz could be another. And then people are still holding out hope for Jordan Walker. I'm not trying to sell you on that one. I can't sell you on the possibility of him becoming some kind of a star. And then maybe down the line, somebody like a Rhino Rodriguez becomes another. I don't know. But that's the hope. That's the belief, is that you have some of those guys. And then Wilson Contreras, maybe, if he's back next year. I mean, 850 OPS, that's not that different from like a Bo Bichette.
He's the guy who could have this. That's weird because Springer was falling apart. He could have the Springer here, where it's like, whoa, that guy got hot for the first month and never cooled down.
Absolutely. Like you've got guys that could be something similar to a lot of these pieces that are across Major League Baseball, especially the Orioles as an example. The pitching is, I don't know. I got nothing.
We got to go bullpen.
I have no case for you there. Unless they make some big moves this offseason that surprise all of us, which is what made it possible for the Brewers. They end up making some smart moves. They add Jose Quintana. They trade for Priester, as you mentioned, a number of times this year. And they figure out with Mizorowski. Maybe Doyle can be your Mizorowski, and maybe you go out to the market, and you trade for one, and you sign another via free agency, and you figure it out.
I will not invest this heartbreak for me at the beginning of the season for the Cardinals.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to go through the rebuild to see this on the other side.
I'm ready to start the year going, they're a 90-loss team. Watch them get hot for a month. I go, we are so a playoff team. We don't miss bats. We don't hit for power. But this is the year. The defense is the year. And then by June, I'm like, oh, man, yeah, they suck.
I won't allow those intrusive thoughts like I didn't allow the Blues intrusive thoughts.
Junk Drawer is next. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Coming up here in just a little bit, T-Bone is believing that his Illini are going to win the national title this year.
Oh, can't wait for that segment.
Yeah.
Checks the date. It's November. Yep, that sounds about right. Wait till
Checks the
January
opponent.
when he hates every single player on the
Not
roster.
this year.
It's going to be amazing.
We are built different.
That was the equivalent of the Blues winning a preseason game against the Blue Jackets, and me thinking,
I don't overreact.
So we'll get to that here in just a moment. But Alex, my
Logan
birthday is this
Brown.
week, and I've got a question for you.
oh, he threw that one out there on purpose, didn't he?
I need some
What
help
do
from
you
the
want for
text
your
line.
birthday?
Yeah, what do you want us to get you? Are we
getting hints now?
399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line.
My birthday was in August, so
Dang. I didn't get a happy birthday the day I worked with him.
I did send you a text. I said I didn't know today was your birthday.
that's
I'm sorry.
brutal. I think I texted you in the morning.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
I got it the next day. In other words,
What
don't
the
expect a
hell
gift
do
from
you
me.
ask for when you're 33?
Nothing, man.
Truly. My dad texted me. He's like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? I was like, dude, I don't know.
I check and see how much debt I have and say cash.
Is there anything else? Like, text line, is there anything good that you bought this year? Is there anything that you have either purchased yourself or somebody's purchased for you that you were like, couldn't live without it? It was the best $50 purchase of my life.
No.
Because, like, I don't know what to ask for.
I think after you have kids, you're just done with gifts.
That's kind of how it works.
I looked at Katie last week because we were going over the budget, and I said, I don't need anything for Christmas. I said, I don't need it. Like, if I need something, I buy it. I put it towards the kids. Like, I just, like, save us a little money on the other side, put it towards the kids. Our anniversary, we both decided not to get gifts and just go out and buy dinner for ourselves that night.
I don't even know if you have kids. Like, I'm 26, and my mom asked me, like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? It's like, I don't know. Like, give me a gift card somewhere. Give me some cash.
I mean,
like,
I just, honestly, when you're on your own and when you got your own, like, money coming in, I don't see the point of gifts. I'd rather the person just save that money and not spend it, or just take me out to dinner. Like, take me out and let's just go have a nice night out eating or something.
What's the best dinner spot that you've been to lately?
See, I'm weird, though. Like, I don't try new places. I go to, like, my favorites. I mean, my favorite destination is always Favazza's on the Hill. Like, I get to sit on the patio with Katie. We go out there. We have a nice Italian dinner. We go get dessert at Ted Drew's, and then we go home. Like, that's just... I don't try new places. I go to places that it's just like, man, this was really good. Unless somebody tells me, like, hey, you need to check this spot out.
Yeah, the last one that I went to that I enjoyed, it was American cuisine. It was the Frisco in Webster Groves. Was an interesting spot. Had a nice outdoor area. We didn't sit out there because it was a little chilly that night, but that was maybe the most recent one that I've been to. I've tried this.
Katie and I did a cooking class together to where, like, we went and they, like, showed us how to make certain things. And so, like, I took that recipe home and then I just made it for us one night. So...
I like that. We did, when I was in Mexico City, we did a coffee class where they, like, go through how to do a pour over and everything. That was
that's
really
pretty
cool,
cool.
too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'd
I like
rather
that stuff,
Did they
the
teach you how
interactive.
to, like, how the coffee connoisseurs do the tasting?
Yeah, it was a legit coffee tasting class. This
That's
guy was
sick. I would love that.
a judge for the coffee competitions in Mexico.
Problem is their coffee beans are a lot better than the coffee beans we have here. So no matter what you try, it's
How
like,
that adjustment come
this
back.
isn't very
A lot of
good.
people on the text line are saying, just ask for peace and quiet. Have them watch the kid.
Yeah, honestly. Right now, it's like time is what I would prefer. Time with Katie, time with just me, time with my family. Like, that's what I want rather than gifts.
That's why we paid for somebody to mow our lawn. We had them, they were out there this morning. Like, it's the time.
I actually like mowing the lawn.
That's Alex's time to
That's my
get
fun.
away.
That's my me time to go get and do that. And oddly enough, I've turned into the guy that likes to do dishes by hand.
Oh, for sure.
Because I put my AirPods in. Like, Katie will do bedtime after dinner, and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to wash the dishes. Like, fine by me. I'll put the AirPods in. And the other thing I like doing, I like cleaning up my basement. Like, going down there and, like, putting all of the toys back where they go. All this me time is like just getting to go do something, which is a lot of fun.
All right. So
Ask for me time, man.
that's what I'm going to ask for.
Yeah. Or
Is-
you go downstairs and you try and fix something and put a nail right through your water pipe.
It wouldn't be the first. Probably, hopefully, will be the last. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll dive into some NFL quick hitters. We'll see if we have any more breaking news when it comes to the NFL's trade deadline. Today is officially deadline day. By the way, the Orioles have officially acquired Andrew Kittredge from the Cubs for cash considerations. T-Bone had an immediate turnabout. Yeah, they did. Just trade him back.
I didn't even know he was on a multi-year deal. I thought he was a free agent.
Went from the Orioles to the Cubs, and the Cubs said, "Here, actually, there are takebacks. You can have
Don't
them
give us
back
these backsies.
for
What are the Cubs doing? That's more
considerations."
Blow it up.
Yeah, are they
Blow
rebuilding?
it
I
up.
don't know what's going on with the Cubs.
because
right
like
now.
that guy's not a 2027 issue. I didn't even know he was a 2026 issue.
He might not be.
Is just like trade his
Andrew
rights?
Kittredge contracts.
Can you trade rights in baseball?
I don't know. Cubs might be
He's got
finding it
a
a
club
loophole.
option for $9 million.
You can trade
for next
options.
year.
Okay. Well, I guess Baltimore will pick that up.
What if he? Oh, it's the club. I was gonna say, man, that'd be great if they traded a player option, and then he was like,
wonder-
man, I don't want to play here.
It could be one of those things where the Orioles also like negotiate off of the club option, so they do like a 2-year deal worth $9 million. Because I don't know that I would pay Kittredge $9 million.
We got a
this
big
year.
move in the NFL.
Yeah.
Cowboys are trading for
So anticlimactic.
Keenan Williams from the Jets.
Oh wow,
Or
we've got another one. Quinnen Williams.
That's what I
Okay,
meant.
that is a genuinely huge trade.
First round pick
I
and
didn't
more.
know Keenan Williams.
I'm sorry. I mean,
I was like, am I supposed to know that that's a big trade?
I didn't know how to pronounce it, to be honest with you. I just knew Williams.
to understand what the Cowboys are doing.
They just got a pass rusher and they got a linebacker. I mean, what do you mean you're trying to decide what they're doing?
They're top 2 in
They're the
offense.
equivalent
they-
of what the Colorado Avalanche did.
They had Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Jerry Jones was on today saying he's not a leader. That's why we got rid of him. He's not a leader.
Because that locker room crap.
And they traded him. So basically, you traded Micah Parsons for Quinnen Williams and a first-round pick.
Yeah, the essentially Colorado Avalanche when they traded Mikko Rantanen for Jack Drury and Martin Necas. And like,
Okay.
oh, could have just kept
Quinnen Williams is awesome. I actually
done.
like this trade.
what-
It's a
what?
good trade. It's just a weird order of
It
operations here.
also makes me think that Garrett Wilson's on the move at some
gotta
point
be.
today.
The Jets are out of. They're saying, screw this. It's a
How is
foot
Brees Hall not traded yet, too?
He will be.
Oh, okay.
He'll be gone.
And the other thing,
What time is the
Let's continue on this on the other side. We'll do NFL quick
We gotta
hitters
pay the
first, then we'll
bills.
talk about the Illini. The trade deadline's coming up later on this afternoon. Cowboys just traded for Quinnen Williams. What does all of this mean for the Jets? They've now traded Quinnen Williams. They have traded Sauce Gardner. They're probably going to trade at some point later today their stud running back. What's going on with the Jets? What are we expecting to see the rest of the day? And why has the NFL's trade deadline actually started to matter? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. It's been a good NFL trade deadline. Not something you typically say.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks, the Jets.
The trade deadline is generally like old, washed-up players like Amari Cooper and DeAndre Hopkins trading teams and us convincing ourselves, hey, 2018, Amari Cooper, 2018, DeAndre Hopkins, they're trading. No, it's 2024 version of those players, and neither of them had much of an impact. This year's a little different. Quinnen Williams was just traded to the Dallas Cowboys earlier today. The Jets traded Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts, effectively making what is typically an offseason move at the trade deadline. This is really interesting. Do you guys think this is a new trend? Is it just like what you said, hey, the Jets are imploding, and so they're the team? Okay.
It's that. I don't think there's another. I mean, the only reason this is happening is because the Jets are like, well, we are awful and we're just rebuilding. But I mean, look, the Saints would like to probably do this, but Kamara doesn't want to go anywhere. Olave doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. Teams don't typically have this type of talent on a roster that's awful and are willing to trade them away. So, yeah, I think this is just a Jets thing, which might even get more exciting because of Breece Hall and potentially Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I think it is just a Jets-specific thing. The fact that they had this much talent on the defensive side of the ball and were 1-8. Yeah, they had to blow things up. There was no path for them to running this thing back. And when your ownership, if ownership says, hey, we're willing to give the GM, we're willing to give Aaron Glenn some time to figure this out rather than panicking and firing him after 2 years, then you almost get the permission to, okay, give us a fire sale. We'll take, they got 4 first-round picks now, and we'll try and build this thing back up real quick.
I think they've got 5 first-round picks now over the next 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Can I be honest about this Cowboys trade?
Sure.
I don't think I like it.
For who?
For Quinnen Williams.
I know. Which side are you saying you don't like?
I don't like for the Cowboys. Like, how long is Williams under contract for?
I'll have to look it up. He's on it for a while. I think like 3 more years.
So it's a longer term.
Mistaken.
But, like, I'm looking at this right now. Like, look, the Cowboys, you could say their defense is awful.
2 more years beyond this year.
You could say the defense is awful, but they scored 17 points against the Cardinals last night. Like, they're quite possibly going to lose 3 of their next 4 games, even with these additions. You're not a playoff team this year, and you just traded your first-round draft pick.
I know some disagree with what I'm about to say here. T-Bone, I'm curious your thoughts on this. This is very similar to like the Logan Mailloux trade. It's more about the future than it is for right now. This is a building block. Quinnen Williams is a really good football player.
Could have just signed Micah Parsons.
Agreed. He's 28 years old. Micah Parsons is younger. Like in every possible way, I just would have re-signed Micah Parsons. But whatever. If you think that you're going to be good at some point in the next few seasons, trading for Quinnen Williams is a more than defensible position. He's a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL right now.
And like, it might be too outlandish by me, but like, if you're potentially selecting in the top 10 this year, because your team's pretty bad and you might lose 3 of the next 4.
That's what I was about to bring up.
Can I just go get another younger player who's got a lot more cost controlled?
Not a defensive tackle. Defensive tackle is one of the hardest positions to find a legitimate difference maker at. There's like 3 or 5 of them in the entire league. Quinnen Williams is one of those guys. So if you value this position and you think it is a hugely important piece to build what you need defensively, I get it. He's a real building block here, and he's a good player. I like it from the Cowboys' perspective in a vacuum. I think the way that they've gone about this, starting in like March of this year to where we are today, is totally ass backwards. And I think they fumbled it at every step of the way. But if at the end of the day you said, hey, the Cowboys are going to get Quinnen Williams at the deadline for a first-round pick, do you like that move? I'd say, yeah, I think that's a pretty smart decision by them. We also don't know if it is
their
Cowboys.
First.
It is.
It's not the Packers. That's what I was going to bring up because I'm shocked that they gave up that. Because there's a chance.
Having that.
Yeah, I thought that's what, because I agree with you, because there's a chance, even with this move, they still continue to lose. They could have just potentially given up a top 10 pick.
Okay, so here you go. It's a second-round pick this year and a first next year for Quinnen Williams.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
that's a lot.
So like
they're giving up a lot.
So they're 3-5-1 right now on the year.
They're not a playoff team this year.
Yeah, I mean, most are getting 7 wins.
But I agree with what BK's saying. And the other thing too,
but that's when the second-round pick would accrue, and then next year would be the 2027.
Oh, so it's not the 2026 first round. Oh, okay. Well, then
2026 second round pick and a 2027 first round pick, according to Jay Glazer of Fox.
Well, then That's a better move. I'll give them more credit.
It's
than
a lot.
It's a better move for the first-round pick and when it's going to happen. Them adding in a second-round pick is not insignificant, though.
No, but you keep your first-round pick for this upcoming draft. And the Packers. So you still have 2 first-round picks in this draft. And if you're going to be bad top half of the draft, and you've got this guy who, like you just mentioned, there's not many of them in the league, and you've got him under control for 2 more years. I actually like this move a lot more now that it's not the first-round pick in this year's draft.
I like it.
You just don't like these because they're not the Chiefs.
They do have their first-round pick this year and Green Bay's first-round pick, so they could move down
and Green Bay
add
stinks
second-round
too.
picks. So the picks are okay for them for this year, but it's not a song. You had the second-round pick and now you no longer have it. To give up a first and a second, I just keep going back to the Micah Parsons thing. You had Micah Parsons.
Yeah. No, they're
you have
stupid.
now traded. Basically, Micah Parsons was dealt for Quinnen Williams in a second. Because they gave up 2 first-round picks. Or they got 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, and they just gave up a first and a second. So,
I mean, look,
just sign Micah Parsons.
All of it,
next time,
yes.
Jerry.
All of it is very stupid. All of it is. But this is at least the next best thing that you could have accomplished if you're the Cowboys.
I guess they're just going to go cheaper on defensive end. That's what they're going to do.
Yes, yep.
You know, you go in the draft and you try and find that guy. And this is why I kind of like it, because when you make this move, it is a longer-term play. Yes, you did. That second-round pick does make it feel a little bit more. But I think defenses, you can turn around like that. You know, an offense is hard to do. Why? Because you got to get the quarterback, and then you got to get the offensive line, and then you got to get the weapons. Defenses, man, there's teams that come out of the blue and we're like, whoa, hey, yeah, that defense is pretty good.
And money-wise, it is cheaper. Quinnen Williams is expensive, but he's, $15 million cheaper. Maybe you end up getting Quinnen Williams plus you're able to re-sign now because you have the cap flexibility. You're able to bring back wide receiver's name?
George Pickens. Well, you also got the linebacker from Cincinnati at the deadline, so you've upgraded your defense there. And if let's say you're picking,
he got benched by Cincy, so I don't know how great he is.
I guess that's very fair. But let's say you're picking in the top 10 this year with your pick on top of another pick. I mean, you're able to reshape the roster pretty quick, and we all agree their offense is in a good spot right now.
Yeah, it's a lot, but good player coming back to Dallas. The Jets draft capital, by the way. In 2026, they have their own first-round pick. They have Indy's first-round pick. They have Dallas's second-round pick. In 2027, they have their own first-round pick. They have Indy's first-round pick, and they have Dallas's first-round pick. So over the next 2 years, they have 5 total first-round picks, and Dallas's second-round pick, which Alex mentioned, could be a top 10 pick in the second round. That's like a top 50 overall selection. It's a lot of draft capital, man.
Yeah, let's hope they don't bleep it up like they've done in the past.
The part that kind of sucks for them, and maybe I'm being a little too cruel here, maybe.
They don't have a quarterback?
I was going to say, is there a quarterback coming out that I should be excited about? That guy is saving the franchise.
Arch Manning,
2027, maybe.
Who's that?
Arch Manning, baby.
I don't know. But maybe in 2027.
I was going to say, I haven't seen anybody that I'm like, oh, I can't wait for that guy to come out.
I think Julian Sayin is special. Ohio State's quarterback. I think he has the potential, at least, to be pretty special.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of fine.
I like Ty Simpson a lot. I hope he doesn't come out this year. I think Ty Simpson needs more seasoning. But he has the potential to be really good.
To me, he screams Mac Jones.
Hey, Max looks pretty good with the 49ers.
That's true.
Still got a chance to be the first one out of that class to win his
I don't even remember who else was in that class.
I think it was
Zach Wilson was never having.
Wilson. Who was Trey Lance was in that class that year.
Yeah, I like my odds still.
I don't think any of them are going to win a Super Bowl.
Not good. All right, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. The NFL's trade deadline is coming up today at 3 o'clock local time. Ricky Scoops, Alex, is back on Twitter.
Pretty Ricky!
For those not familiar, Ricky on Twitter has been the best NFL insider in the business over the last calendar year.
And then he just disappears after he drops a nugget.
He earlier today said the Cowboys and 49ers are both expected to add defensive linemen before Tuesday's trade deadline is over. That was from this morning. Now we know the Cowboys have officially added Quinnen Williams. So the 49ers, another team to watch.
This is Roger Goodell
That's what
as Pretty Ricky, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He is scooping the hell into NFL headquarters right now. Bills, I feel like I'm that meme poking it with a stick. Bills, do something. Do something. Please.
He said, I believe the Broncos' holy crap move would be trading for Jalen Waddle. Can he handle
I would say
it
holy
there?
crap. He's kind of the two that I don't really.
Yeah. I don't know if you need that.
Jalen Waddle?
Yeah.
He's a good player.
He's a good player, but I think you're fine.
I don't know if he's a difference
Second round
maker.
pick for Waddle? Would you give that up if you're the
No.
Broncos? I think I would. Second round pick, I'd do it.
I don't know if he's that much of a difference maker.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you got that dog to be.
Well, I also think your quarterback won't hit him. He'll hit the defender, and next thing you know, it's picked
That's
Will
off.
bounce to him though.
Yeah.
Coming up next,
Maybe.
it's November, which means T-Bone believes his college basketball team's going to win the national title. What did we learn last night about Illinois and Mizzou? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. A little bit of an update on the conversation we were just having. The Chiefs beat writer just said he's hearing the Chiefs are connected to Bradley Chubb, the defensive end from the Miami Dolphins.
Bills,
So
do
keep an eye out.
something. Something, damn. Move.
I told Donnie this in our group text the other day. The Bills can't have nice things.
Just go freaking
Don't-
trade for Garrett Wilson, man.
Don't waste draft capital when you're just going to get smacked by the Chiefs in the playoffs again.
You don't have
I
to
would
get
like
smacked.
to see them go out and get some kind of a field stretcher. Whoever that may be, they need
Olave,
a
Wilson.
field-stretching wide receiver. Teams that I would like to see get aggressive today. The Bills, I would like to see the Patriots go out and add somebody, pass-catching wise.
Yeah, they've traded pieces away more than they've brought stuff in. And I know there are guys that have fallen out of favor, but
I'd like to see them add something. This is too good of a team to just add nothing to. Keep adding, keep investing, and it can be building blocks. Guys, hell, they won't do it because it's in the division. That would be a great team for Garrett Wilson.
yeah.
Just have him on the page. But again, they
God.
won't do it because they're in the division.
Someone said BK has been traded to the Jets. Oh, damn, man. Hate to see you
going
go.
on a tanking roster.
Yeah, hate to see you go,
Hey,
man.
they got to spin to the floor. I'll go ahead and take some of that cap space.
You're going to be their new tight end, apparently.
Okay, so last night was the start of the college basketball season, like officially. I think it's silly that they start it this early. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Personally, I believe like Thanksgiving, start it right after that because that's kind of the end of the college football season. Started on like that Saturday, that Sunday, that Monday, something around there. That way it can really feel like an event. There's a lot of these fan bases that are still very much focused on their college football season. Illinois, not one of them, though. So T-Bone, your Illini back in action last night. They're a legit top 10, top 15 type of program this season. They've got international superstars littered up and down their lineup. That's their new experiment that they're going through with Brad Underwood.
Smart.
You don't learn a ton in these games, but it's our first opportunity to see these guys on a basketball court together. So what did you learn in watching the Illini in their first action against Jackson State? By the way, they won 113-55 yesterday.
It might be a hot take, but this might be their year. They might be able to win it all. I mean, they look really deep.
Jackson
They've got
State.
guys that have experience from playing with the big boys over in Europe. We basically have built the under-22 European team. I really like what this roster looks like. I really liked what we saw from Mirkovic, I think is how you say it. He had a double-double at halftime, and he's a freshman that they brought in from Morocco.
Them having this many players from Europe is going to lead to some wild pronunciations this year for T-Bone, and I'm here for it.
I'm gonna get it down by the time I get a chance to actually sit down and watch him on the big screen. But I had to have the freaking Blues on it last night.
It's all good, man. Go
So
ahead.
they won.
Avicic looks very good once again from distance, 3 of 6 from three-point range. I think he reminds me so much, and he's not. I don't know if he's an NBA player yet, and I hope he gets to it. He is their version of what Sabonis does. Lefty, spaces the floor, can shoot the three, and is an incredible passer. For him to get to the NBA, he's going to have to get quicker on his feet and build up a little bit more strength. I'm hoping they'll be able to add that. And his brother was really good last night as well. And then they've got a freshman that Underwood was telling people, anybody that would listen, this Keaton Wagler from Shawnee, Kansas. He believes it's the most athletic player that he's had in the program's history in his time at Illinois. And if that's the case, that's wild because Shannon was a freak athlete. So was DeSumo, who they had as well. Like, if this kid is as good as they think, and he was in the starting 5 last night on top of Ivicic, who will spread the floor, and this freshman from Morocco. You know what? I don't even need to say more. They are winning the title this year.
Hey, BK.
I can call after one game.
BK, I'm going back through the history of Jackson State Tigers. You know the last time that they were above 500 at the end of their season?
What's that?
I don't know because I'm still going back, and I'm 15 years in. Congrats on beating a team that you should have beaten by
That's okay.
60-plus points.
We did what we were supposed to do. Meanwhile, Mizzou let Howard hang around for a little bit.
Yeah, they won by 21 on the road.
That's a cover.
21.
Was it a cover? BK, was it a cover?
I don't even
I
think
doubt
there was
it.
a line.
I
on
can
there.
guarantee you 113-55 was a
Jackson
cover.
State's last above 500 record was in the 2015-2016 season.
Yeah, it's not a good program. They did what they were supposed to do yesterday, but to put up 113 on anybody is a really impressive performance. Ken Palm has them right now ranked 5th in the country. Illinois is a good basketball team. My favorite annual tradition, though, is T-Bone. After watching them for like 3 to 5 games, they'll have a really good performance against one of Texas Tech or Alabama. One of those 2 games at least they'll look really good in. And T-Bone will say, oh, last year's team wouldn't do that. And then you go back, you're like, they did that, though. Like, in non-con, they had that exact performance. Every year, they do this, T-Bone. And then we get into, like, late December, early January. You get a couple of non-con games in. They lose to USC. They lose to Nebraska. They lose to Penn State. And T-Bone's like, oh, Brad Underwood, it's the same thing every year. Just there's a ceiling to what he's trying to do. And you're like, man, I mean, it's a really good program. He's an awesome coach, and you're consistently a top 25 team. They just didn't quite get to. No, this is a failure. They stink.
And
He's
then
not
Last year
coached.
was a failure.
And then you get to the tournament, and he's like, oh, no, they could go on a run. I think they could be a Final Four team or at least
And then he
Elite
sees
Eight.
the draw, and he's like, they screwed him. They screwed him
that's
again
true.
every year.
That's true.
They win their first game of the
It happens
tournament.
every
Oh, they're
year.
going to the Final Four, boys. And then,
So anyway, T-Bone is rooting and excited about the European All-Stars that are now playing
Yeah.
for the Illini
different this year.
They look good.
You just remember me from hating on Coleman Hawkins.
Yeah, there's.
there was more guys you hated on than just
You
Coleman
also
Hawkins.
then said in his final year, he's fixed it.
No, I
This
never
is the
did that.
year.
I hated Coleman Hawkins.
He figured it out, and then he very much did not. On the Mizzou side of things, kind of like T-Bone. You can't learn a lot against Howard.
They're not winning at all.
I didn't even watch it.
You didn't miss much. Sebastian Mack did not look good. He's their new guard from UCLA.
Well, that's not good.
Ant Robinson didn't have a good game. Mark Mitchell didn't have a good game. I wouldn't worry about it. Those guys are good basketball players. We've seen them play before. I love what they have in the Sean Phillips. The new center from Arizona State. He played sporadically at Arizona State. Last year ended up being a fill-in down the stretch for them as their number one center got hurt. This guy's super athletic. And he's a much better option than what Missouri has had at the center position in recent seasons. I want to see what he looks like against legit competition, because yesterday he could just literally stand there, put his hands up, and he gets every rebound. He finished with a double-double, and it could have been even more. He's got to get the turnovers under control. Had like 6 of them in the game yesterday. That's not ideal. You want to see better ball control out of him, but a legit center option is something we haven't seen at Mizzou in like 5 years, so it's nice to see that. He kind of reminds me of Jeremiah Tillman, what Tillman brought to the table when he was there. A little more athletic, able to move around more, good rim runner, so that's really the only thing I was able to learn yesterday. I like what they have in Sean Phillips right now. Jaden Stone, also fun. A guy that they were able to get. He didn't play last year, but previously was with Detroit Mercy and scored like 500 points with them. So that's it. Mizzou looks interesting. Kind of looks similar to the overall roster that they had a year ago, but with the center this time around.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was very impressed with Phillips. I mean, you're right. He looks like a bit of an athletic freak down there in the middle, and he doesn't look like a big man that just like, stands down there. He looks like he could be like an actual post player. Now, 6 turnovers is a problem when it's against Howard, and I agree. I want to see what he looks like when they play actual competition. The shame is that won't be till SEC play because this is such a light non-con schedule of theirs.
Not true. They play Illinois and Kansas.
I mean, we just know you're going to lose to Illinois. Okay, we'll give you
They play
Kansas.
Minnesota, Notre Dame,
Don't you
Kansas,
guys
and
play-
Illinois.
Don't you
that's
play
fine.
an SEC game before a non-con game, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No.
Didn't Mizzou beat Illinois in bragging rights last year?
No. Suck it.
We don't talk about that game. It was very close.
By the way, SLU
and it
looked
was
pretty
very
good last night,
frustrating.
too.
Yeah, somebody brought up the SLU side of things. I know Schertz has been very high on what he has coming into this season. He was on with TMA the other day and said, like, listen, we knew we were light last year. We knew we didn't have the overall roster to be able to contend. He feels differently leading into this season. T-Bone, did you see anything from them yesterday?
Yeah, I saw.
I wasn't able to watch. I had a bunch of stuff going on.
I saw about 10 minutes of their game against SEMO, and they look a lot better than what they did last year. Like, they look more athletic. They look like they're going to be able to get inside and play aggressive basketball. We'll see if they're able to shoot the three-point shot. They let SEMO hang around a little bit longer than I was expecting, but they do look better. And I'd heard good things, not just from Schertz, but from people that I know around the program that have said some things that, like, hey, keep an eye on them. Now, granted, I've heard that for a couple of years. This year felt different, and they looked a little different. They looked like a team that, okay, they should be – I think they were voted either favorite or second favorite in the A-10. They look like a team that could win the A-10 this year after that first game.
Watch out for my dogs over at LU.
Who'd they
Got
play?
Texas Tech tonight.
That's going to be a fun one.
Taking down the number 10 team in the country.
What's the spread on that bad boy?
Tom Pettit.
Only 34.5.
Oh, I would totally take Lions plus the points.
Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. On a wild day in the Jets organization, New York is not expecting to trade Breece Hall, though there is still over an hour to go prior to the deadline. I don't understand why.
I got this one. Hey, we don't like what you're offering, so we're going to leak this to the media. We'll hold him. We'll hold him. He'll be gone. He'll be traded. He's a free agent.
I don't even care about Brees Hall. You need to move Garrett Wilson. You're blowing it up, man.
The Breece Hall one, though, you don't have time. This is your last opportunity to cash in on the asset. At least with Garrett Wilson, you could trade him in the offseason. He's got like 5 years left on his contract. So even if you didn't move him, or if you decided, hey, we still like Garrett Wilson, We think he's going to be the number one weapon for whoever the next franchise quarterback is going to be. That's fine, too. I don't understand why you would keep Breece Hall in this scenario. You're probably not extending him. It just seems like a waste of an asset. And then the other team that I would be looking at right now, Bengals, what are you doing? If this is what teams are getting for defensive ends, for defensive linemen, pass rushers, they should absolutely trade Hendrickson. I mean, they're clearly not going to extend him and give him what he's looking for. You should be trading him this year at the deadline because you can get a serious asset in return, but it's Cincinnati. So what are you going to do?
Well, I don't want to make Joe angry.
Yeah. We've got about an hour and a half left prior to this year's NFL trade deadline. The Fast Lane will have all of your updates for that coming up later on this afternoon. Coming up next, what is more important for the Blues this year? Making the playoffs or Jimmy Snuggerud emerging as a legitimate top-line option? We'll get into that next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's. Famous frozen custard off of Chippewa, open daily, and has been around since 1929. It's perfect anytime, no matter the weather. Yes, even when it's colder outside, because that frozen custard, oh, it's so good. Doesn't really matter, but it's a family-owned and operated business. You see all of the traditions that are taking place where people are out there enjoying time with family, with friends. Most of the time, it's the perfect meetup spot off of Chippewa before you go out for your evening. But their business is service. That's the model they have been founded on since 1929 and committed to providing exceptional service and a warm, welcoming atmosphere to customers of all ages. They've got specialty flavors you can mix and match. My daughter's big into Oreos and marshmallows. Don't ask me why, but she loves that type of flavor. But you can do whatever you want over at Ted Drew's with that famous frozen custard. While you're there, make sure you walk across the parking lot to check out the gift shop in the Historical Museum. Route 66 memorabilia. They've got Ted Drew's. They've got City of St. Louis stuff, and they've got plenty of Ted Drew's apparel and gift cards that you can purchase for gifts. So check them out off of Chippewa. 96 years and 4 generations of families have been serving St. Louisans that famous frozen custard. Ted Drew's, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues took down the Oilers last night, snapping their losing streak, and they are back in action tomorrow night when they visit Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. We'll have pregame coverage tomorrow night starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Carver and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, we've got college hoops for you as Duke takes on Texas. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 7 o'clock with tip-off at 7:45. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an Icon Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. So, Alex, I'm going to ask a question, and I wonder if there is any disagreement on this.
Okay.
What's more important for the Blues this year? Making the playoffs?
Absolutely.
Or Jimmy Snuggerud emerging as a legitimate top-line player? Let's say you had to choose between the two, right? It's the Spider-Man thing where you got to choose which one you're going to save.
I think that was Batman.
Was it Batman?
Are you talking about the Spider-Man meme where they're like the same person?
No, it's
Where he's got to save either Two-Face or his girlfriend.
Up, huh? That's a bummer.
Man.
Bad nerd.
Thanks, Will somebody help Brandon?
It's like the Batman movie where he's got to choose which one are you going to save.
Oh,
Are you going to go over there? Are you going to go over here? You can't choose both. You've got to choose one or the other.
Great reference.
I think Spider-Man also had to do that, but whatever.
I don't think he did.
I could have sworn. Which one would you choose if you could only have one, and that means that the other doesn't happen? Making the playoffs or Jimmy Snuggerud as a top-line player?
To me, there's no argument. It's Jimmy Snuggerud being a top-line player. Because if you want more of the first option to happen, you need Jimmy Snuggerud to be a top-line player. I think another thing that I learned from that game last night is that Pavel Buchnevich and Jordan Kyrou aren't guys to carry a team. And maybe we already knew that. They're guys that have success in the shadows, which it sounds bad, but it's really not. Like, Joey's made this reference. Evgeny Malkin is this guy. Like, why is Evgeny Malkin okay staying in Pittsburgh? Because he doesn't want to go be the guy that's supposed to make sure every single game is on the right side of a win for your team. And he doesn't want to be the guy that has to answer for all of the mistakes that are taking place. He's fine doing what he's doing and letting Crosby being the star. I think Pavel Buchnevich and Jordan Kyrou benefit from having a guy like Robert Thomas so that they can go out there and play their game. They're not receiving a ton of criticism unless things go totally wrong. So Robert Thomas is that guy. You saw the impact of him last night. The problem is you can't survive with just one of those guys. You've got to have somebody else to help carry the load of your team through the bad times and the good times. And I do think Jimmy Snuggerud can do that. It's not just on the offensive side of the puck, it's the defensive side of the puck. So it would suck for this team to miss the playoffs, especially if we're talking like top 5 pick. To me, that's a step backwards. But if you end this season and you look at a guy and say, yeah, that guy consistently will be a 70 to 80 point player, 40 goal scorer, and very good on the defensive side of the puck, that's a win in my opinion.
I was right. It was Spider-Man. He had to either save the bus full of kids on the bridge or MJ. It was the Tobey Maguire one from 2002.
Sure, you weren't thinking of that, though. You were thinking of saving.
I was, I swear.
Didn't he save both, though?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He did save
Did he
both.
ultimately save both?
Yeah,
of
he
them?
didn't like let the bus die.
Yeah, no,
and then,
I understand.
Yeah,
but
all right,
the
so
idea
then
You said only one gets to happen.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent's face was burned off because he
Yeah,
chose.
no, you're
well,
right.
no, he got to Harvey. His girlfriend died.
Hey, spoiler. T-Bone, which one would you choose?
I don't think it's a spoiler at this
Sorry, I
point.
had to look it up. I was
no.
like, am I completely misremembering something?
No, you just are making this sound like but you're still a nerd.
I would say it's Snuggerud as the top line winger over the making the playoffs because one, I agreed last year like making the playoffs would benefit this team. One, it helps ownership. Two, it helps some of the guys who hadn't gotten that playoff taste to know what playoff hockey feels like, what that's like. I don't think there's anybody on this roster that I'm overly concerned, like, oh, they have to get playoff experience. Like, Dvorsky would be one. If he has to wait another year, that's not the end of the world. Mayu probably wouldn't even be in your playoff lineup right now. Like, there's only one guy. Everybody else, Snuggerud, got to experience it last year. But I think it is hey, if he becomes that first-line guy, that tells me he became what we thought, which is what Alex was saying, like the 35-goal, 40-goal guy. Maybe he doesn't do that in this first year, but shows signs of, he's going to take his game to the next level. This team desperately needs a go-to goal scorer, not a go-to playmaker. Thomas is the go-to playmaker. I'll give him that. He's not the goal scorer, though. And you think back to when the Blues were having success, what did they have? They had Vladimir Tarasenko, which was the go-to goal scorer for them. If they needed a goal, they would put Vladdy on the ice, and he could come through for them.
We're on the same page here. I'm a little surprised by that. I thought somebody would for sure take the playoff side of things, because I do think there's value in it.
Yeah, there's absolutely.
Getting to the playoffs this year, and you could do it without Snuggerud becoming an obvious, clear-cut top-line player.
But it's hard. The other hand of this, too, is if he becomes this guy, then you're probably making the playoffs.
Maybe, or
at least
the defensive liability is just too much to overcome, and you got off to too tough of a start.
That would be
you
the
don't
part.
have that crazy finish to the season the way that you did a year ago, and you missed by 3 to 5 points. It could happen. I think that's probably the most likely scenario for the team as of today. So they miss by a few points, they have a decent season, and you have some positive returns on the young guys, and we leave saying, disappointing that they didn't make it to the playoffs, but all things considered, you're set up well for 2026. Dvorsky is looking like a real player for your top 9. Jimmy Snuggerud's a solid, at worst, top 6 forward. You've got Carbonneau coming. You've got the other options. Maybe at that point in time is a real player in your defensive pairing. So there's a way for it still to be a success, and that's why I would go with the Snuggerud side of things. Even missing the playoffs, this season could still be a success. Last year felt like, because there were so many veterans as a part of it, that was the priority. This year, I think the young guys almost have taken precedent over the veterans, where it's, hey, what does Snuggerud's development look like? What does Dvorsky's development look like? What does Mayhew's development look like? These guys are building blocks for the future. Joe Hofer, what does his development look like? That's going to matter more in 2028 when they could be a legit Stanley Cup contender than whether or not they make it to the playoffs and maybe play 6 games this year.
And I think the key word there was the building block factor, right? Dvorsky, what have the Blues been kind of saying what his role is in the future for the Blues when they're in their winning window? It's the second-line center spot. Snuggerud, he's the top-line guy, and it takes the pressure off of Kyrou, and Kyrou can take advantage of the mismatches on the second line. The only guy from last year's team, and it was Bolduc, and I like Bolduc, but Bolduc's ceiling, I think we agreed at the time, was, he probably settles in as like a third-line power play specialist, like what he's doing in Montreal right now. That's not necessarily a building block. That is more of a complementary piece than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's important for this team to get to the playoffs so they have that winning culture established, because you don't want to make it, miss it, make it, miss it. You want consistency. But I think to get to the window that we have talked about of this team every single year for 10-plus years is always considered a top three team in the Central Division, they need somebody else to become a star on this team. And you're not picking in the top 5. You're not picking 3rd overall, 4th overall. So right now your options are Dvorsky, Carbonneau, Snuggerud. I don't know if all of them become stars. I don't know if one of them becomes stars. But you just have to have somebody break through to be a top-line player with Robert Thomas.
3 weeks ago, we were adding Dylan Holloway into that mix. And I would like to see that start to come to fruition again as well. It'd be nice to see Holloway. I think he's been playing fine.
Yeah, he's been better these last 4 games.
But it'd be nice to see him get back on track offensively as well.
Yeah.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's 1:50. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We'll hit the rewind next year on BK and Ferrario. Alex, it's a day that ends in Y, which means it is a day that I opened up the Underdog app when I woke up. I checked it out, tried to find out, okay, what's the promo that they're doing today? They had all kinds of stuff. Obviously. NBA action is going on this evening. They had a 75% profit boost that I was able to check out. They also had a reveal the deal where you go in and you can choose the player and then it will reveal what the deal is for you. Surprise. I got Shea higher than 37 points, rebounds, and assists. Love that. I've got James Harden higher on a 6.5 assist, and Chet Holmgren higher on 10.5 rebounds plus assists. Put that all together over on the Underdog app. It's 6-1 odds for me. Love that going into tonight's action.
Always love those surprises you get when you open up the Underdog app. So download it today. Use promo code BKO, yes, BKO, to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, promo code BKO. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
With Alex and T-Bone on BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. That podcast is always sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
And coming up later on today over at youtube.com/101 ESPN STL, you will be able to see the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast.
Oh, man, we've got some good stuff to talk about this time around, right, boys? The victory!
Yeah, good win for the Blues last night. A much-needed win for the Blues last night. We've got our full thoughts on that in today's open for the show, so you can check that out over there on the podcast page. You can also see our full interview with Jeremy Rutherford, the Blues insider for The Athletic. Before we get out of here today, we'll talk more on the Blues tomorrow, Alex. They've got back-to-back coming up Wednesday and Thursday. NFL trade deadline is coming up at 3 o'clock. The Jets have been the story so far. They have traded Sauce Gardner. They traded Quinnen Williams. Seems up in the air as to whether or not they will trade their running back, Breece Hall. Do you think that they will make another significant move prior to this year's deadline?
Yeah, I think Breece Hall's going to get moved. Somebody tweeted out and said, report, Breece Hall wants to be traded. No-ish, all of the emojis that are coming out right now. But, yeah, I think Breece Hall's going to get moved. I think Tebow nailed it. What's happened is the Jets are like, we'll hold on to him until you pay the price. No, you won't. You're going to trade him. Just take what you can get right now. You basically blew the entire thing up. I'd like to see if they move Garrett Wilson, but you're right. It doesn't make sense. You could do it in the offseason.
Yeah, I think they move Breece Hall. They have no real leverage in trying to negotiate outside of we'll hang on to him and just waste the asset. I think he gets dealt. They'll have to cave to whoever it is they're negotiating with. Wilson's the one they've got legitimate leverage on. I expect he's going to stay. I think Breece Hall's the next piece gone.
Who's the team you think will make a big move at some point prior to 3 o'clock to acquire a player? We know the Jets are the team that have made all of the moves to sell. Who's the big buyer other than the Colts who gave up everything?
It has to be the Bills. I mean, in my opinion, like in the NFC, I think it's wide open to where you don't need to be that aggressive. I think there's a lot of competition for that spot, but the Chiefs look like they're going to be a very tough team to deal with. So the Bills have to go out there. And I know they just beat them in the regular season, but you got to make yourself dominant in the postseason. So mine's the Bills.
Why wouldn't the Rams get aggressive, T-Bone? They've got multiple first-round picks.
They're the team I think's got something up their sleeve. I don't know what it is, but
all the good guys are getting traded already, man.
I wonder if they would give up one of those, if not both of them, to go get Trey Hendrickson. I think they're the team that might force Cincinnati to make that move.
Yeah, they feel like a team that should be. I mean, they've got capital. They never have capital, so go use it. Go use it.
Now Les Snead wants to hold on to them picks.
Oh, he's shaking in his office.
That should be all in. They've got the quarterback who's at
old.
the very end of his tenure, and they've got a team capable of winning the Super Bowl this year. So that's one that I would pinpoint. I would also say that the Broncos just feel aggressive. I don't know that they should be aggressive, but they feel like they're a team that's ready to get aggressive prior to the deadline. So we'll see what they decide to do. The NFL trade deadline coming up in 1 hour. The Fast Lane will have your full updates on that throughout the afternoon today. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's next here on 101 ESPN.
Whoa.